2017 Hapo Columbia Cup, Heat 1A.
Fair honest prices every day of the week on the best selection. DesertBuickGMCTrucks.com. Mounts Locksmith. Find yourself needing a key because you left it inside and they could come help you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week if you're locked out. Mounts Locksmith since 1948, 586-9300. Also thanks to folks over at Perfection Miller Paint, we track the points. And you can keep track of Joanna Gaines Magnolia Homes paint. It's available exclusively from Miller.
The U21, Darrell Strong presents Payne West Insurance, Brian Perkins.
Bob and Julie and all the crew there. So Perkins is out on the course first, and this looks similar as Jimmy Shane in the home street comes by Tony's Tire Factory, turn number 2.
Well, we'll see. Now is the three-time defending champion there, Jimmy Shane, as he makes
his home street bank, Miss Madison, Jimmy Shane.
And followed up here now, here comes number 12, Graham Trucking.
So J. Michael Kelly in the 12 on the back stretch, just out of Tire Factory turn number 2. Jimmy Shane getting ready to...
The U12, Graham Trucking, J. Michael Kelly.
At the
J. Mike is hanging back, start-finish line right about now.
Perkins, a slow ride across the start-finish line. And will he be jumping to the backstretch through the ESCO Electric infield? Not just yet. Looks like he's camped out and he would like to have lane 1 if he could.
He's about 10 miles an hour faster than you, Brian. Mike's at the exit end of this straightaway.
Water, you're right. Here comes Perkins down here. He's tight on the buoy row in lane number 1. Guys, when we had that last heat black flag, not the last one, but the last time we ran.
Jimmy Shane to the infield.
There he goes.
ESCO Electric move to the infield.
He'll go over and jump out in front of Brian Perkins, but they didn't get the message to J. Michael Kelly until a little bit later, and he came hard down here to the lower corner, and man, he caught a lot of air underneath the boat. It was really, really light.
At the GP turn, he went all the way down into the corner. 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
How far back is Perkins?
Perkins is about 2 rooster tails behind you.
After the cut through the ESCO Electric infield, Perkins coming up the backstretch now. He wanted lane number 1, but I think Shane's got it now. And then all the way back at Tire Factory, turn number 2, the bright red boat. That's the 12 Graham Trucking with J. Michael Kelly.
J. Michael coming up on the backstretch here. He's equal with the start-finish line about. Coming up, he may be cutting here. Nope, he went all the way down. Okay, he's going to play for the cut on the backstretch again, it looks like.
It depends now where Jimmy Shane goes. Maybe did Jimmy learn something?
Shane's just camped out in lane number 1 here. Perkins is going to come up in lane number 2 as they come across the Griggs Ace Hardware start-finish line. Shane across, and now Perkins across, and up at the top end of the course into Buffalo Brothers turn 4 is J. Michael Kelly.
135. This is setting up just like the last.
Get up with Jimmy.
You're right on it.
Jimmy's early.
Because our leaders that are coming down here, Shane and Perkins, they're going to have to come all the way to the bottom. They're going to get down here about $122. And here comes Mike. He's way on the outside right now, but he will have the opportunity to cut the course here, I think. Let's see what he does.
He hasn't started to cut yet. He's looking to, though. He's looking to. He's cut. Nope. He went down. He went all the way down. You're clear. Keep pace with Perkins. Protect your lane. Watch your 80.
Seconds, 1. Mark Kelly's come all the way down here. He'll be on the outside of the 3 of them.
So lane number 1 will be Jimmy Shane in the 1. Lane number 2, you've got the 21 with Brian Perkins. And lane number 3, you'll have J. Michael Kelly in the 12. And J. Michael's just coming out of Tire Factory turn number 2 now, Tony.
Yeah, he's way outside. A lot cleaner water. So
Well, so far.
So far. We'll get a chance to see that here in a couple of seconds, won't we?
30.
Coming up the backstretch, Jimmy Shane is going to get into turn number 3. You pull at Auto Parts first. Perkins now goes in to turn 3. J. Michael Kelly on the outside.
Start picking it up. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah, let's go. Just stop on it. You're racing now. Go.
Wide coming out. J. Michael Kelly is way outside, but he's got some nasty boat speed coming off the exit pin of Buffalo Brothers turn number 4. And there's your photo right there. It's a clean start. It's going to be Perkins coming down the front stretch. Shane is falling back, and look at the boat speed for J. Michael Kelly on the outside in the bright red.
Good start.
First boat to get out here. How about this? Going to be Brian Perkins, but he's got Shaner right to his left, only a boat length back. And then about 6 boat lengths behind him is on the outside, J. Michael Kelly. Tony.
Jimmy Shane making it to the exit pin first, followed by the 21, right about a half.
Good corner. Looks like you got the 21 by 2 boat lengths. 12 is a rooster tail back.
Nice little move there for J. Michael Kelly.
Well, Jimmy Shane didn't need to make the move on the front stretch. He just waited for turns 1 and 2 to take the lead. He's coming up the back stretch, leading in Heat 1A. The rerun about a half a rooster tail back. You've got the 21 with Perkins, and a rooster tail behind Perkins is the 12 with J. Michael Kelly. Here comes Jimmy Shane around the top end of the course. Boy, a great turn on the buoy line. Perkins is going to be a half a rooster tail back, and he's running a good, solid race right now, but Jimmy Shane trying to pull away on the front stretch. We'll see how much boat speed Perkins can pick up coming down the straightaway, and he's reeling in a little bit on the one home street bank, and look at on the outside, J. Michael Kelly again with great momentum out of turn number 4.
1 up, 1 down, 2 to go. Shane's going to get down here first. Got about 3/4 of a rooster tail on Perkins, and then it's a full rooster tail back to J. Michael Kelly. Kelly's running a huge course. I don't know if he can run him down, Tony, but watch him. He's going to go after Perkins.
Jimmy Shane just hit a big hole in there, and he just lost a little bit of speed, and now here comes Perkins. He's a full rooster tail behind, but he's got some momentum, and here comes J. Michael Kelly. He moved to the inside, and he's
To lane 1, but he's 2 rooster tails behind you. So don't leave any room on the pin.
Kelly jumped over into lane number 1, and he is falling back. He's still a rooster tail and a half back of Perkins. Perkins got loose into turn number 3. It skipped sideways. The boat did not roll over, but it skipped sideways and it came unhooked, and you pull it out of
Flag, red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag. Green, green, green. Stay on it. Green. You still got a green flag. Go.
I'm all right. Well, that's good. What tell us what happened slowly? That's the rudder. Steering's gone.
We got a red flag. Is that
All right, thank you.
We do.
they're showing green down here.
Yeah, they're green here.
Oh, wait a
They're
second.
green.
The green flag remains on the course?
Yeah.
I'm shocked.
Jimmy Shane is running hard.
Well, the boat didn't flip. It is still upright on its sponsons. It never did flip.
Keep your radio on. I'm going to try to get out. I got my foot. Keep your radio on.
He's coming down here, but he's not going to come into the pit area, so he's going to continue around. We got patrol boats moving on our race course.
Well, we do, and we still saw the green flag just a moment ago, but it's difficult to lean out and take a look at it. I see the red flag out, but that took a time, and I don't.
Stay way outside. We got a white flag hanging now. White flag.
So the race continues, and it's Jimmy Shane coming out of the exit pit at turn number 4 for Buffalo Brothers.
White flag lap. White flag 1.
Flag is out.
Indicate the last lap. They seem to think that Perkins is out of the way enough.
Yeah, he did skip that boat into the infield, so he's in safe position right there. And J. Michael Kelly then will come across the start-finish line after he gets out of the Buffalo Brothers turn number 4. And this heat will stand. It'll be Jimmy Shane coming around Tire Factory turn number 2, Tony.
Looking nice and smooth. It is a little bit lumpy down here, but he just managed that very nicely. And again, he's making his way down the backstretch way out wide, so all he has to do is just get down there and cross that finish line. J. Michael Kelly is doing the same thing on the front stretch. He's just making sure he gets around.
Yeah, basically parade laps at this point.
Yeah, cockpit's up on the 21, though. I think indicate he's fine.
Guys, didn't we say before this heat started, at least the first time, that they had made a change to the strut on the 21?
You mentioned it.
Because there was the unmistakable sound of a propeller and a shaft letting go. I mean, all
the 2017 Hapo Columbia Cup Heat 1B.
Right where I'm going, we're going to try and stay in lane 1, around 110 miles an hour. you keep me on that chart, we'll see what we come up with.
Presents Miss Ace Hardware, the Turbo.
The U3 Griggs presents Miss Ace Hardware, Jimmy King.
Followed by the 9, Les Schwab. And then we have the 11. You can't miss that paint job, folks. That is Dayglow green and red. Quite a combo.
It's a fascinating combination. On the surface, you say that and you say, well, it wouldn't work, but you look at the boat and it does.
It's great. I like it.
It does. All right, 1B coming at you with the 3.
The 9, Les Schwab Tires, Andrew Tate.
Tate in the 9, Les Schwab Tires, the youngest driver in the oldest boat on the river.
The 11, Mr. Julio presents J&D's, Tom Thompson.
And the 99.9, we have not seen. He's trying to get on a plane.
He's up.
Here he
He's
goes.
been struggling, but he just copped it
Come on.
loose. Come on, Gregor.
Trying to get that Leland Unlimited
up.
Racing presents Car Stars, powered by Ms. Rock. Greg Hopp is on a plane heading to Tony Tire Factory Turn 2.
I'll be turning if you want, but here he comes as he's making his way out of the exit, and it's good to see. There it is, 99.9.
Just a reminder, race fans, out of the river, please, up on the shore. For your own safety, all those in the river need to step up on.
U99.9, Car Star, Miss Rock, Greg Hopp.
Yeah, the 99.9 with Greg Hopp. And the Pasco shoreline, boy, the special tents over there and VIP areas look.
Andrew's inside, Tommy's out in 3 and 4, and Hopp's in front of me out in lane 9.
Yeah, if you think we're going to have to cut the course after the start-finish line and come back around.
That have joined us from Bunch Finnegan Appliance and TV at the Levy VIP area on the Pasco side near Tire Factory Turn number 2 with Tony.
Good to see an entire group of folks over here. I love it. And, and there's just a whole bunch of kids, too, which it makes my heart proud because that's what we want to see. We want to see that generational stuff come in. And the kids are here having fun, and they're watching the fastest boat.
We're at 2 minutes. 2 minutes. We need to be at that exit pin at a minute 30 or the start-finish line at a minute 19 in lane 1. So if you want to go ahead and cut the course, and we can do 2 cuts.
Cutting the course.
Turn number 3. DeJulio is coming up the front stretch almost to the start-finish line with Tom Thompson.
3 just cut across.
The 3, Jimmy King cuts through the Esco Electric infield.
Okay, pick it up a little bit. You're at 130. Okay. Pick it up a little bit.
Field.
No, he's going to come all the way down at a $120. Don't make a liar out of me.
So Tom's going to hold on to lane number 1 as we look. Oh, Jimmy King and Greg Hopp come back across through the Esco Electric infield to the front stretch.
Thompson just cut way in. He's in lane 1, but he looks way early. Tate's trying to stick it in lane 1, too. Let's go for 2.
King. Nope, King's going to come down too. So, Tom Thompson, as we get to 1 minute, Tom Thompson.
Far, 1 minute. You're in a good spot right now. You can go to the inside if you want it.
And on the far outside is going to be Greg Hopp. 50 seconds to you, Tony.
And it is getting sloppy down here already. This is going to be real exciting to see. As you called it, Brad, they are. It's going to be 11, 9, 3, and 99.9.
Coming up the back stretch, Tom Thompson on the inside in the 11, Andrew Tate in the 9 in lane number 2.
30
seconds to the start. Greg Hopp is going to be on the outside. He's really pushing it hard, and now Andrew Tate's starting to get his foot into it as we come into You Pull It Auto Parts turn
20.
number 3. Thompson holds on to lane number 1. Into turn number 4. Jimmy King will be in lane number 3. Hopp in lane number
10.
4. Tate in 2. Thompson in 1.
5, 4,
Here's your countdown.
3,
Heat 1B.
1. Mark.
It is a clean start. Look at Jimmy King taking over second place from Andrew Tate, but it's Thompson leading coming down the front stretch.
Coming 3 wide down to the lower corner. Thompson's getting it down here first. He is on the inside. Got about 5 boat lengths on Tate, who's got about 2 boat lengths on the piston. Tony, the apex to you.
And he is really bouncing across the top of those rollers. But here comes the 9, Andrew Tate. He's in lane number 2, and he's sneaking right in there. He's a half a rooster tail behind, followed up by the 3, who's a full rooster tail behind the 9.
Yeah, the 3 lost a lot of speed in turn number 2. Hopp is falling back in the 4th position. Your race for the lead now is Tom Thompson on the inside, Andrew Tate in lane number 2 as they go to the top end of the course. It's a great boat race. Less than a half a rooster tail lead now for Thompson, coming around in the 11 at the exit pin of turn number.
Mark, that's perfect. Plus 2 on Andrew.
The Les Schwab in the 9, trying to gain speed coming up the front stretch, edging a little bit into the lead. Oh, Thompson with a lot of air underneath the boat, flying it hard, had to back off the throttle a bit coming down the front stretch. Here comes Tate trying to catch him into turn number 1.
It is still going to be Tom Thompson. Got about 3 boat lengths on our top qualifier. Andrew Tate to the entrance pin, making 4 boat lengths. Tony, we got a race out front.
And it is. It's going to be the 11 is the exit pin first. Here comes the 9, though. There's some extra speed, and he made a fantastic turn.
Wow.
Here goes the 9 on the outside. He may have just taken the lead.
Oh, he did. Tate with just a beautiful move coming out of Tire Factory turn number 2 to take the lead. Thompson is falling back now about 2 boat lengths, trying to pull up on him as they get to You Pull It Auto Parts turn number 3. Tate's going to try to hold on to the lead, hold on to the momentum as they go through the top end of the course into Buffalo Brothers turn number 4. Thompson on the inside now, deck to deck as they get to the exit pin. Whoa, that's a tight turn at the top end of the course. Tate and Thompson very close at the exit pin. Tate's going to have the lead coming across the start-finish line by about a half a rooster tail. Thompson on the inside trying to pull him back in down the front stretch.
We start our lap number 3. It is Andrew Tate. Now he's opened up about a half a rooster tail on Tom Thompson. He's given him plenty of room, but when they came off of turn 4 at the top end of the race course, Thompson slid out a little bit, got really close to Tater, but now it's Tate by half, maybe 3/4 of a rooster tail, Tony.
It is. He just pushed it out to 2 full rooster tails. He's found some extra speed in that boat, and the 11 still is in lane number 1.
Well, look at that lead now for Andrew Tate in the 9. Les Schwab tires heading up the back stretch, almost a rooster tail and a half, leading Tom Thompson in the 11. Into turn number 3 for You Pull It Auto Parts. Wall of water off the skid fin. Heading now into Buffalo Brothers turn number 4. It's Tate coming out of the exit pin. He has moved now into lane number 1 with the overlap. No problem there. 1 lap to go, and Tate, whoa, bouncing back and forth left to right on the spots and across the start-finish line. Across Tom Thompson now coming down.
Good. You're at the exit pin right now. In the same lane you are. We're playing defense.
He flies the boat as he sets it up down here from the lower corner. All he's got to do, Tony, is negotiate this lower turn one more time. Bring him home.
Finding it very lumpy down here at the exit. He's heading down the back stretch. He is comfortably out in front. All he has to do is finish it out. Here comes the 11. What a great race there by Tom Thompson. He has done very well in the boat. And out of the turn, and boy, sliding wide. Here comes the 3. And he is trying to bounce through those rollers. My goodness.
Jimmy King in the 3 with a great move getting through that rough end of the course in turn 1 and 2. Coming up the back stretch, he'll take a 3rd place finish. Greg Hopp, great run in the 99.9 that we've only seen on plane in this race.
And he's hitting some high.
He's coming through the slop there, the jello shot turn 2.
That's it.
Wow, look at Andrew Tate almost waving to the fans with that right sponson coming up out of the water down the front stretch and across the start-finish line for Griggs Ace Hardware. And checkered flag in Heat 1B will be for Andrew Tate in the 9, Les Schwab tire. 2nd place finish for Tom Thompson in the Miss DiGiulio presents J&D's STEM Acceleration. 3rd place for Jimmy King in the Griggs presents Miss Ace Hardware. The Hopster heads around the top end of the course into Buffalo Brothers turn number 4, and he'll come around for a 4th place finish. But it's
...2017 Hapo Columbia Cup, Heat 2A.
turn number 2 on the Pasco short line.
I think I have the best seat in the house, guys.
You have a whale of a view of that first turn. I spent 2 years over there.
I love
They
it.
hit that apex. Wow.
I tell you, arguably, I have the best seat. I feel very good about this spot.
Well, we got a couple of boats coming out tandem. Jeff Michael Kelly is away from the dock, and right alongside him is Tom Thompson.
Well, there's a photo right there with the red boat and the bright green and red boat coming out.
And speaking of red, This one says Griggs Ace Hardware on the side, but it also says 610 KONA on it. And we got all three of our boats. Going to be a small number on the field, but you know what? This will be very interesting.
The U-12 Graham Trucking J. Michael Kelly.
Let's get the billing period underway. It's who's going to be willing to take over the inside lane.
The U-11 DeJulio J&D's Tom Thompson.
Go a long, long way for tomorrow's final. So this is really an important race.
The U-3 Griggs presents Miss Ace Hardware Jimmy King.
J. Michael Kelly now entering turn number 3 for you pulling auto parts into Buffalo Brothers turn number 4. Behind him is the 11 Miss DeJulio with Tom Thompson. Cutting across the infield, Jimmy King in the 3. There's your Esco Electric move to the front stretch. Wow.
320.
So King will take over lane number 1 as we come across the start-finish line. 3 minutes and 10 seconds until the start of Heat 2A from CO Energy. Thompson on the outside. Kelly will be in lane 2. King in lane number 1 as they come down the front stretch, at least for now. Who's going to dice through the infield?
3 minutes, 11 is still outside of you. He can't probably cut underneath unless he wants to get wet. Nope, run him all the way down. Run him all the way down.
Tony's going to come down here. 2:50, 2 minutes 50 seconds. Now 45 seconds. Tony going to come 1, 2, 3, coming right at you.
Good looking 3-boat right there. There's your piston power right on the back stretch in front of the Franklin County crowd. Here comes the 12, another fine looking red boat, J. Michael Kelly. And then that day glow green and that red combination. Yeah, it does look good, folks. And the 11, Tom Thompson.
You know what? If Jimmy King pins
1 minute stand on it, we'll short course it twice.
And hits the start where that thing wound up top end.
He's cutting the infield. Esco Electric move across the infield again. Jimmy King.
Now
he's got it spooled up too.
Tell me when he hits the start finish line.
And that would be now.
He does not want to be there at 2 minutes.
Well, he could go back across now, and he's going to. There we go.
He was going to have to do something. That's the rule. 2 minutes at the start finish line and $1:30 down here. You do.
J. Michael's coming around. He's at the top of the turn.
And the 11 will go around the top. The 12 has gone around the top of the course.
There he goes again.
Jimmy King cutting across and back through the infield. J. Michael Kelly's on his way up to the start.
Back off. Stay in one. Stay in one.
They're first and claim lane number 1 again, at least for now.
Now they can come all the way down. It's $1:30 on the clock. So now they can come all the way down. This will be a lot of fun if he can wind up that Terminator.
Well, that's a good piece of driving right there by Jimmy King.
It was. He threw in the loop and he made it work. So they're getting down here to the entrance pin at $1:15. It is King.
So close. So close. Oh, he's tight there. You're out tight. 9, 8, 7.
Tom Thompson goes with him.
Wow. To the back stretch, Esco Electric electrifying move through the infield. 1 minute to the start.
Oh, that was good, guys. That was good.
That could leave King on the outside of the 3.
Oh, yeah,
That's
he's on the outside now.
Yeah, Thompson's claimed lane number 2.
Yep.
I can just hear him to his radio, man. Where did those guys come from?
That was electrifying Esco Electric move by J. Michael Kelly. Tom Thompson follows through the infield. Well, and claims lane number 2, but J. Michael Kelly gets lane number
30.
1.
That tells you how important this race is right there.
Well, we saw him in that testing all morning long. He wanted lane number 1, and that's where he was working his setup.
20.
And that's where he wants to be. So, J. Michael Kelly in the 12 in lane number 1. Lane number 2 is the Miss DeJulio presents J&D Stem Acceleration with Tom Thompson. On the outside is the Griggs presents Miss Ace Hardware with Jimmy King.
3, 2, 1, mark.
And it is a clean start.
Good start, good start.
So J. Michael Kelly had to back off the throttle. Jimmy King timed it out a little bit better and is leading down the front stretch.
Yeah, he's got a half a rooster tail getting down here first. He's leading and he's on the outside. Tony, you got a better view than I do.
Here comes the 3, the Terminator.
You got him. You're in front of all of them. You're in front of all of them. Right there, right there. Lots of wing, lots of downwing. Let's go.
deck to deck, heading down the backstretch. Great exit here out of 2.
What a great Tire Factory turn 2 with 3 boats. Tom Thompson is falling back just a little bit on the backstretch. They are deck to deck to deck. Thompson is falling back into 3rd place. It's J. Michael Kelly leading up the backstretch. Great boat speed on the outside for the 3. Jimmy King in the Terminator. The Griggs presents Miss 8 Hardware. So it's J. Michael Kelly, top end of the course. Let's see how tight he holds it on the buoy line, or will he force him outside? No, he's got it dialed in right at the exit pin. What a beautiful turn for J. Michael Kelly. 2nd place, Tom Thompson, losing a little bit of speed at the upper end of the course, the 3 with Jimmy King. Whoa, J. Michael Kelly getting a little bit loose. He had to back off the throttle on the outside. Trying to gain 2nd place now is Jimmy King in the 3.
I'll tell you what, for a 3-boat heat coming down here, this is about as good as it gets. You got Kelly with a half a rooster tail. You got Thompson with about a 1/3 of a rooster tail, Tony.
And it is J. Michael Kelly. He's out in front again. Rooster tail lead. Here comes the 11 boat. He's trying to find some time, but here comes the 3. Oh my goodness, the 3 found some speed out of that corner, and he's trying to catch up right now to the 11.
Yeah, Tom Thompson had to back up quite a bit. Well, J. Michael Kelly had a beautiful Tire Factory turn number 2 and held a lot of boat speed. Now a rooster tail lead on the backstretch for J. Michael Kelly. But boy, was he loose at the front stretch.
Yeah.
My goodness, coming across the Griggs Ace Hardware start-finish line, that was one loose boat.
Walking the sponsons, as they say.
Coming out a little bit wider this time, not that close to the buoy line. J. Michael Kelly, Tom Thompson in 2nd place, a rooster tail back. Half a rooster tail back is Jimmy King in the 3, and we'll see it.
Plus 2 tail, plus 2 tail. Take your best line.
But it's J. Michael Kelly, a full rooster tail lead down the front stretch.
And JMK had a nice run down the front straightaway this time. He's got the field covered now. He's just got to defend his position. The race is going to be for 2nd, but I'll tell you what, Tom Thompson is holding off Jimmy King. So 1, 2, 3, Tony.
And it is J. Michael Kelly. It is comfortably out in front. Here comes the 11 out of the exit pin. He's trying to find whatever extra he's got to try to catch J. Michael Kelly. And the 3 bouncing across the top. And he's getting out of that exit pin. It's a 1, 2, 3 down the backstretch, guys.
Sound like Jimmy King may have backed off the throttle a little bit after he came through that turn number 2. He has fallen back a rooster tail, maybe 2 rooster tails now behind Tom Thompson in 2nd place. Another rooster tail ahead is the leader for the race, J. Michael Kelly in the 12. Graham Trucking just out of the exit pin of our turn number 4 for Buffalo Brothers now. And we'll come across the start-finish line,
flag.
and he's right.
You got her easy now.
A lot of air under that boat. Walking the sponsons back and forth. Tom Thompson across the start-finish line in 2nd place now with 1 more lap to go here in Heat 2A, thanks to CON.
Look, you want to close the door down.
Tire Factory turn 2.
It's a little choppy down here, guys.
Tony, watch the 3. He's trying to dive to the inside.
Here goes J. Michael Kelly. He's making it down the backstretch. And the 11, oh, is bouncing pretty top right there. He's got a little bit of a ride going on there. And here comes Jimmy King in the 3. And you're right. He is really trying to make something happen. He moved to the inside, trying to catch up in any way he can.
He found nothing but lumpy water down there on the inside of that turn. Top end of the course. You pull it out of parts. Turn number 3. It's J. Michael Kelly in the Graham 12. Off the exit pin. Now he came out a little bit wide and heads to the start-finish line. Pulling out the checkered flag. Tom Thompson out of the exit pin at turn number 4 now. Jimmy King just getting into turn number 4. Checkered flag out. J. Michael Kelly gets the checkered flag for 2A. Thanks to CO Energy. 2nd place will be Tom Thompson in the 11. And a 3rd place. Whoa! Look at Jimmy King get some air underneath the boat coming across start-finish line for a 3rd place finish. So J. Michael.
2017 Hapo Columbia Cup Heat 2B.
Restart here. They made the drivers start over by the trailers and run down to the dock and jump in their boats, and here they come. This might be very interesting, too. Just how hard do you want to push this?
Well, points are good,
Points are
but
very
being
good
able
for
to
both
run
of them.
tomorrow is even better.
But here is an opportunity for either one of these guys to separate themselves by 100 points against the other guy in the National High Points race.
And Brad, is there any sense of maybe they want to just see what the others got and how they compare?
Clearly.
On the outside, the U1 Miss Home Street Bank, Miss Madison, Jimmy Shane. On the inside, the U9 Les Schwab Tires, Andrew Tate.
East with 400 or 300 points.
Isn't that funny? They came out of Tire Factory turn 2 and they stayed deck to deck for about a 1/3 of that.
Overlap, 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 overlap. Pins.
Or if they've been following it all weekend so far. What a great way to wrap up Saturday for your Columbia Cup.
Well, let's go back to Madison and their format that they ran. And oh, look at cutting through the
It's okay, hang back, stay right behind him in lane 1. Stay right behind him in lane 1.
He's back ahead of Jimmy Shane now across the start-finish line. But let's go back to Madison, Brad. And Jimmy Shane was leading in that final heat, hit the roller.
He's going slow. He's barely above 80. He's about 5 rooster tails behind you.
The checkered flag there, and now you've got this
You can cut. Get right back on your mark.
99.9 trying to get up on plane, and I don't know if he's going to be able to accomplish that. He's really
Here comes
trying.
Jimmy Shane.
Shane is going to cut through the Esco Electric infield now. And Greg Hoppen does get it up on, he's fighting it.
Coming up, he just exited the turn. You're clear. 80 miles an hour.
Tony coming right at you.
And here he comes, the 99.9. Craig Hoppen.
All right, what am I doing here, boys? What am I doing?
Field and gets back in front as we do a little leapfrogging.
We're going to have to tilt in front.
2 minutes, 30 seconds. You're fine. He's right behind you. You're fine. If he cuts, he's going to be super early. Stay on pace.
Keep watching.
Well, and the other thing we always like to say when we're doing this is you've got a trump card up your sleeve. I'm not sure you want to play it just yet. You want to save that sneaky move for the final.
It's the 9.
Coming up on 210 to the start.
Almost
Andrew
like
Tate in the 9 coming through the infield of the front stretch. The
Like-
Esco Electric move.
the boat that's behind is the one that does the move. Once they know the front of them's gone too far, they cut across.
Now, meanwhile, Greg Hoppen, 99.9, is going to go around the top end of the course.
The 99.9 car star, Miss Rock, Greg Hopp.
He's early on our marks, Nick.
He's way early, but we're going to have to get in front of him.
He's just the start-finish line right now on the outside going slow. He's probably going to cut.
So Tate will come down, and a little bit of a breeze again picking up as the...
Where's he at? Where's he at?
Still slow on the outside. He's slow on the outside.
The Miss Rock looks like it's all the way out in lane 6.
And Shane's going to come all the way down.
Let's just keep our pace and let's get a good start.
I'm with that. Yeah, he's 115. He's 7 seconds early.
Tire Factory turn number 2 to take more time to get around the course.
Absolutely.
Exactly right, and he's now just settled into lane number 1. Jimmy Shane's now coming across. He's lowered her down 2, settled in number 2. And
1 minute.
99
1 minute.
is coming in way on the outside, lane number 5.
So Tate is way ahead in the 9
Man, he's
of Jimmy
early.
Shane in the 1 by about, I want to say, a quarter of the backstretch. That much real estate. But has lane number 1, at least for now, as we count down 2B CO Energy. Another duel on the Columbia River.
Yeah, you got to watch that minimum on the 9.
30.
He's got a little bit of a rooster tail. 30 seconds and just into turn number 3 for you pulling auto parts.
Jimmy Shane just put his foot in it a little bit.
And so did Hop on the outside in the 99.9, the Leland boat.
You want to be at that exit.
Keep going. Go inside. Hammer it. Let's go.
Shane to take lane number 1. So Jimmy Shane claims lane number 1. Tate had to take a little bit more time.
Yeah, he's just trying to keep...
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Mark, good start. Beat him down. You got him. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Tate in the 9 on the outside, the 99.9 with Greg Hoppen. We've got a 3-boat
For
race.
to settle it, turn it. Leave him 1 lane down there. Settle it before you turn the wheel.
Jay Shane in 1, and Jay Shane's down here first with about a 2.5 boat lead as they go to Tony at the apex.
And he is keeping it really tight.
Looks like you got about 2 on him. Let's go. Hustle, baby. Watch your lights. Let's go. Beat him down here.
Here comes the 9.
Jimmy Shane, a great turn in Tire Factory turn number 2. Hop is falling back by about a rooster tail, trying to pick up on the outside exactly where Tate is. Tony, can you see him?
Exactly.
Yeah, he is right there. So Shane is leading as we get to turn number 3. You pull it auto parts into turn number 4. That is Buffalo Brothers turn, and we'll have a chance now to see Tate pop out on the outside. He's back about 4 boat lengths right now at the exit pit, but he had a great turn. There's a lot of air underneath the 9. He's flying it out of the water.
Momentum for the 9.
Great
You're reeling them in. Remember, you got the boat ride. Just settle it down before you turn the wheel. Watch the lights.
stretch.
It doesn't get any better than a 2-boat duel like this with the 2 fastest H1 Unlimiteds on the planet, and they are dead even. Actually, Shane by a boat length, but Tony, you can throw a blanket over them.
Top of that. Oh, and Andrew Tate just slid a little bit into lane number 1, but he regained it, and he's back on top, and he is now chasing down Jimmy Shane. They're going to go do this again on the backstretch, guys. Decked to death.
Yeah, falling back about a boat length. It's Tate in the 9 trying to chase down Jimmy Shane. Amazing job. He was able to do it on the front stretch. Can he do it on the backstretch? Shane coming up to turn number 3 to the entrance pin. Upalette Auto Parts dives into turn 3 on the outside. It's Tate in the 9. Tate with a really smooth run at the top end of the course. Back about 4 boat lengths again at the exit pin as they come onto the front stretch after the Buffalo Brothers turn number 4. Look at the air underneath that 9. He's flying it off the water. Shane with a solid ride on the inside, but Tate's got him on that front stretch. He's going to pull even again as they head into turn number 1.
They're pulling dead even down here when they get to the top end of the chute. Shane's able to move away by a couple of boat lengths, but it's still anybody's race. Tony and Tire Factory turn 2.
Jimmy Shane's got it inside, and he's going to take it to the exit pin first, but it's a full Rooster's tail leader.
You got him. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Nice to come around to the outside a little bit, and he's getting some better water out there, and he's now heading down there, and I think he's about a half a rooster tail behind the Shane.
Yep, it looks like about a half rooster tail lead now for Jimmy Shane in the home street bank.
You can either chase him or let him go.
In Indiana, coming into Upalette Auto Parts, turn number 3, about a half a rooster tail back on the outside. You'll find Andrew Tate swinging out into lane number 2 this time of the exit pin. Jimmy Shane forces a longer course for Tate, but Tate had really good boat speed and good momentum at the top end of the course. Now Shane must have been holding back because, boy, is he hitting it hard down the front stretch, trying to hold off Tate in the 9.
Yeah, coming down here on our lap number 4 now. This is the white flag lap. We'll have checkers at the end of it. Still anybody's boat race, but Shane does have the lead by a little bit more this time. He's got about 5 boat lengths, Tony.
And it is Jim Shane walking the sponsons on top of these big old rollers down here. But the 9 is not giving up. He's just closed the gap.
Keep on it, man. He swung way wide. He's got speed. Go, 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 go. 3 boat lengths.
Hey, guys.
Yeah, Jimmy Shane up the back stretch. Get about a half rooster tail lead, but Tate on the outside trying to gain some ground and has pulled within 5 boat lengths as we get up to the top end of the course. Shane on the inside is going to have the advantage with the shorter course as we go into turn number 3, and Shane is really hitting it hard. The water at the top end of the course looks extremely good.
2 boat lengths. Get down here. Come on, baby.
Factory turn number 2. Out of Buffalo Brothers turn number 4, it's Jimmy Shane at the exit pin. Tate trying to catch him on the outside. He's within that half a rooster tail, but he won't catch him at the checkered flag. Jimmy Shane and the home street bank takes the checkered flag. Tate will...
They're way early and had to move out to kill time.
Well, I know. I mean, either way, whatever you were going to do was right. You're going to have so much speed on him, and then he just left the door open. Crack.
'17 Hapo Columbia Cup, Heat 3A.
I think it's going to be very entertaining. It's going to be very neck and neck. The 99.9 has improved throughout the weekend, as has the 3. The 11 almost goes too fast. I mean, it goes too fast sometimes, which is why I got disqualified. So there's going to be a lot of speed out there in a battle for second place. That's going to be really entertaining, and maybe one of them pops up, surprises us, and is right there with the 9 at the end.
Well, we saw a boat parade for the opening ceremonies. Now we see a parade of H1 Unlimiteds come out of the Neil F. Lamson pits to Tony at Tire Factory turn number 2.
And leading will be the big red 3, the Griggs Ace Hardware as
The U3 Griggs Ace Hardware, Jimmy King.
and the 11 is on the outside of that. We're still waiting for the 99, and it looks as if it's starting to get a little bit of...
The 9, Les Schwab Tires, Andrew Tate.
If he's away from the dock, it's taken him a while to get this thing to spool and for him to be able to pop the 99 up and away, but he's been able to do that.
The 11, J&D's Hydraulics, Mr. Julio, Tom Thompson.
Water coming over the deck, and right about there, he just popped it loose. So we've got the 99.9. We got all 4 of our boats here in our Heat 3A.
Esco Electric infield, a little activity. Jimmy King cutting from the backstretch to the front stretch here at the top end of the course. The 11.
How's it going, GP? Good.
Watch for, go GP, you're clear to go, you're clear to go. Just watch Leland's boats coming out right there.
Exit pin of turn number 4. Jimmy King cutting again across the infield at the lower end of the course over to the back stretch, Tony.
Yeah, and right on the outside of that is the 99, so you've got two boats going on the backside, but again, the 3 is going
On the outside, the 99.9 Car Star Miss Rock, Greg Hopp.
Andrew Tate is going to jump through the infield, head to the back stretch. Now, will Jimmy King cut through the infield at the top end of the course? No, he's going to head up into You Pull It Auto Parts turn number 3. Greg Hopp is on his outside in the 99.9. So both those boats come out of Buffalo Brothers turn number 4 now. The 11 with Tom Thompson just through Tire Factory turn number 2.
I'm going to do a short course.
New GP course, though. GP course on this first cut.
Coming up on 2 minutes and 10 seconds. Got a couple of boats coming across start-finish line. Remember, yesterday our kind of very crude timing mark. You don't want to be at the start-finish line at 2 minutes. You don't want to be down here at 1:30. We got 2 boats coming down, and clearly what that means, they're okay. They're just going to have to run loops or run hard. Jimmy King has decided to cut the course and go over right in front of Tony. We got Greg Hopp coming down here in the rock. He's going to go all the way around, and then they'll set themselves back up.
So
45.
Tate in the Les Schwab 9 is going to come across the start-finish line now in lane number 1, Brad.
Yeah, so he'll come down here at 1:35. He doesn't want to be down here at 1:30, so he'll be in good shape. Watch for him to come all the way down and plant that thing right in lane 1, which is where he's got it right now. Doesn't mean those other boats up at the far end of the race course that are cutting across.
Way early, he's already up in the turn in a minute 20, so is Tommy. Keep going, get on it a little bit, stay a little bit above 110. We're a little late. Get up there.
Electric infield to the front stretch across the Griggs Ace Hardware start-finish line.
And here goes Thompson. Here he goes. Here comes the 11.
Thompson is going to try to claim lane number 1, cutting across the Esco Electric infield now to the back stretch.
Now you got to eat time. Eat time now. Andrews to your outside back. Eat time, Tom. Eat time.
Thompson.
Yep. Thompson got the lane 1. It looks like the 9 in lane 2, 3 in lane 3, and 99.9 in 4.
So Tom Thompson holds on to lane number 1. What's our time, guys?
40 seconds, 40.
And they are well back of You Pull It Auto Parts turn number 3, heading up the back stretch. Again, Thompson in the 11 in 1. In lane 2, it's the 9 with Tate. King in the 3 in lane number 3, and on the outside it's Greg Hopp in the 99.9. 20 seconds. Heat 3A brought to you by Atomic Screen Printing and Embroidery in Kennewick on Columbia Drive and in Columbia Park and the Pasco Shoreline with all your souvenirs for waterfallies. Coming off the top end of the course, Tate with full boat speed. Look at Jimmy King.
3.
King's going to time it just right, and the piston power.
Banged it. Get going. Tight lane 3.
With Tate on the inside.
Tate is actually back in 3rd place between boats, and you are right. It is Jimmy King in the piston-powered Griggs Ace Hardware. He's on the outside with a lot of speed. Tate's driving in a tunnel in 3rd, Tony.
And it is. It'll be the Terminator coming out of the exit pit first, followed by the 11, just a half a boat length behind, and in the tunnel is the 9 as they head down the back stretch.
Yeah, it's Tom Thompson on the inside, but Jimmy King with the momentum in the Terminator. Griggs presents Miss Ace Hardware in the lead by about 4 boat lengths coming up the back stretch. Thompson starting to reel him in, and now we see Tate, who is in that tunnel in between the 2 boats. In between the 11 and the 3 is the 9 with Tate coming around the top end of the course out of You Pull It Auto Parts turn number 3. A little bit loose for Tom Thompson.
Made it through, Tate made it through, still tight lane 3 coming up here.
Turn number 4. Tate is in 3rd place, trying to reel in Jimmy King. King in 2nd, but look at Tom Thompson down the straightaway, leading in inside lane number 1.
This looks like another start coming down here. They're 3 wide. You can throw a blanket across all 3 of them. But it is Tom Thompson down here first. Got about 3 boat lengths on Tate, and then it's almost dead even for 2nd place on the outside with King Tony.
Tom Thompson with the 11, really walking the spots as it gets into some rougher water. Here comes the 9 boat. He's in lane number 2, and he just took over 2nd. But here goes the 3 with an extra boost of speed. There may be a tie deck to deck in for 2nd place.
And that turbine power on the straightaway has been able to catch up, if not overtake, the race leaders on the straightaways. But it's Tom Thompson leading as we come up the backstretch and dive into turn number 3 in our 4-corner super speedway. You Pull It Auto Parts. Thompson with the lead, Tate in in second. King on the outside in lane number 3 in third place. Tate trying to edge up on Thompson. King falling back a little bit in the top end corner. Tate is going to challenge for the lead on the front stretch with a lot of air under the Les Schwab 9 as he takes the lead at the start-finish line. It's Tate flying the boat down the front.
Outside. Jimmy's right there on the outside.
He's barely touching the water. He may have had the lead at start-finish, but they are dead even when they get to the entrance pit of the corner. Tate is on the outside. Thompson on the inside. Tony. And Thompson just got a little bit of air. He'll be the first one around on the shortest part, but they're neck to neck.
Wow.
The exit, the 9 is going down. Hit lane number 2 may have just grabbed the lead.
Yep, the 9 is leading coming up the backstretch. Thompson, though, giving him quite a battle on the inside. Jimmy King falls back. He's a rooster tail behind the second place boat, Tom Thompson. Now a half rooster tail lead for Andrew Tate in the Les Schwab 9 coming up the backstretch. Into turn number 3, you pull in Auto Parts. Thompson with the shorter course around is going to try to get even with the 9 and take the lead as they go into Buffalo Brothers turn number 4. Thompson, wow, that is close coming out of the exit pin with the 9. The 9 pulls away on the front stretch. What a run for the Les Schwab number 9 down the front stretch, regaining the lead from Thompson.
4 boat lengths on him.
Tate flexing his muscle, also showing us a lot of the bottom of the boat as he
Settle it down before you turn the wheel.
third flag lap. They'll hang it in front of you, Michael, this time. Tom Thompson has not given up, Tony. He still thinks he can run him down. And he's bouncing off the top of the rollers. The 9 gets to the exit pin first, but there's a little bit left in the 11. It's going to be a great race to the finish line.
It's Tom Thompson, back 5 boat lengths from the leader, Andrew Tate, up the backstretch. Back behind Thompson, 2 rooster tails, is Jimmy King in the 3 in third place. Andrew Tate increases his lead to nearly a rooster tail at the top end of the course. Now Tom Thompson in lane number 1 is going to try to get even as they get around turn number 4 for Buffalo Brothers. Looks like Tate is going to comes out to lane number 3 at the exit pin of turn number 4, and he's got this race won. Tom Thompson cannot catch him on.
Record flag. Good job.
Able to run that Les Schwab 9 so loose off the water. What a great run for the entire 9 racing team with Mike and Lori Jones.
What a run for the 11.
Yes.
Holy smoke, we were...
The booming warehousing industry, manufacturing. Won't last long. Call to lock your building price today. Call 888-98 Steel. That's 888-987-8335.
The U12, Graham Trucking, J. Michael Kelly.
Oh, and he was headed for the course marker, and he had a hard left-hand turn. Lost the plane.
The U1, Home Street Bank, Miss Madison, Jimmy Shane.
Oh, he did. He cut underneath you. He's on the light course, cutting underneath, coming on the front chute, same time as you. We're inside 330.
The U440, Mack Truck Repair, Dustin Eccles.
Dead on that. That's exactly what happened to Dustin Eccles. He popped it loose, got up.
He might cut under you here.
Course marker, and that's the one that if you go outside that one, there's somebody waiting at your dock when you come back, and you better have your checkbook ready. That gets a little expensive, but he's up and he's running now. He's fine. Look at the little cat mouse game going already.
Jimmy and J. Michael cutting to the backstretch through the ESCO Electric infield.
And these two have some history, so this ought to be exciting to see these two guys going at it.
2 minutes and 35.
Still 1 rooster tail back from you. Coming up on 2 minutes, 30 seconds.
So on the backstretch now, it is the 12 in the bright red Graham Trucking with J. Michael Kelly. Coming up close to our turn 3 in our 4-corner super speedway. Bottom end of the course now, the 440 is going to jump from front stretch to back stretch. And that would be the bucket list racing with Dustin Eccles. Jimmy Shane is going to cut across the infield while J. Michael Kelly goes around turns 3.
He's picked up his, you picked up yours. He has not established lane yet. He has not established lane. One buoy passed. Go ahead, and I think you're at 5 boat lengths. Now he's 2 buoys back. There you go. All right.
Wow, now that was an interesting maneuver.
And then he jumped over into lane number 1 after getting ahead of Jimmy Shane in the 1 home street.
How big of a lead did he have? It was right there at start finish. What did you think?
I don't know. You know, 7, 8 boat lengths.
They're telling the 12 to pick up the speed. 136. This is interesting. Remember, you can't be down here at 130, and it's 130.
Where's the 440? Can I go deep?
You can go deep. Yeah, he's still on the straightaway here. You're fine.
Pick it up, and he is picking it up, so he's going to do something interesting. Shane instead is going to go the other route. He's going to go way, way wide to kill speed.
We're going to go cut, because you're at 114. We got, that's a lot of time to burn, bud. I don't think we can do it.
Because he looks slower than he did when he was getting the warning.
I think that's going to be a penalty.
Up the back stretch.
He had the right of way on the course.
From the start-finish line, and I'm thinking he may be cutting across the infield, and he will.
Oh,
yeah. He will.
And Jimmy Shane cut to the lane number 1, allowed J. Michael Kelly to get way out in front, was able to get into lane 1, and is now just going to sit there and make J. Michael Kelly go all the way back around.
He just did a circle, a small circle.
40 seconds.
Here.
I can update you, by the way, they've assessed a 1-minute penalty to the 12.
A 1-minute penalty for the 12.
And that's for encroachment, not speed. That's that little incident at start-finish line last time.
He jumped over into lane number 1 and had not provided enough room for the 1 with Home Street Bank and Jimmy Shane.
They're asking the 1 to pick it up as well.
Yeah.
Well, if the 1 gets a penalty too, we've got something a little different out there.
That goals. 15.
15 seconds.
12, 11, go, go, go. Let's go now.
And it's the Home Street Bank on the inside with Jimmy Shane, the 1.
6.
And the 12, Graham Trucking with J. Michael Kelly in lane number 2. Eccles is in lane number 3, actually way outside. Here's the mark. It's a clean start on Heat 3B from Atomic Screen Pinning with Shane leading on the inside, coming down the front stretch.
Yeah, they're coming down here side by side. Jimmy Shane is out in front by about 2 boat lengths. J. Michael Kelly flying with a lot of air into the boat all the way down the straightaway, and he's taking some big hops. Tony's, he comes to you.
And he is. It's Jimmy Shane out of the exit pit.
Separate, get out of there, watch your lights. Get down here.
Some sort of RPM to get him going and try to chase down that blue and white boat.
Well, it's Miss Home Street in the lead, heading down the back stretch with Jimmy Shane. And within the rooster tail there, I'd say about 7 boat lengths lead, coming up the back stretch for Shane over J. Michael Kelly in the Graham Trucking. So Jimmy Shane dives into turn number 3. You pull at Auto Parts, wall of water off the skid fin, a half a rooster tail back. On the outside is J. Michael Kelly in the Graham Trucking 12. To the exit pin, Buffalo Brothers turn number 4. Shane with a half a rooster tail lead as they come down the front stretch. J. Michael Kelly went through a little bit of rough water at the exit pin. He's flying that boat down the front stretch, but J. Michael Kelly's going to have a tough time bringing Shane back to him.
Yeah, Shane's opening up water right now. He's coming down here with almost a full rooster tail, and JMK is really flying the red boat. Shane to the entrance pin in the corner now. Kelly to the entrance pin now. That's the difference. Tony, it's almost a rooster tail.
And it is getting a little bit choppy down here as J. Michael Kelly is trying to find something a little bit extra as he gets out of the exit pin safely. But it is.
Nice turn again. Nice job, Mike.
Nearly 2.
The 440 Bucket List Racing now completing lap number 1, coming across the start-finish line. And we need to talk about how many points Eccles is going to get with the penalty assessed to J. Michael Kelly. This is a big race if he can finish.
It's a big race if he can finish. But if Kelly were to get around him, except we're talking, well, we'll check all that later. 1 minute penalty. Again, then you're going to have to work on the times. But you're right. At worst case scenario, he's 225 points here. Eccles is coming into the lower corner. Leader's coming to you.
Yep, it's over a rooster tail lead now for Jimmy Shane in the home straight across the start-finish line. Now J. Michael Kelly, Graham Trucking now at the start-finish line for Griggs Ace Hardware. Just over a rooster tail lead. It's Jimmy Shane in the lead.
And they're catching up to the 440 here.
Got a rooster tail on him still.
Next stretch.
Well, the 440 is way out wide in lane number 6, but it is Jimmy Shane out of the exit pit first. He's in lane 1. Lane number 2 will be the 12 of the Graham Trucking, and it is now extended out to at least 3 rooster tails as Jimmy Shane down the backstretch.
Jimmy Shane coming up the back stretch, and he's going to reel in the 440 and pass him.
Easy, bud. Just getting her in the show. Nice job.
Right now, passes him on the back stretch. Eccles is way on the outside of the U440. Jimmy Shane into U Pullen Auto Parts, turn number 3 in our four-corner super speedway. Coming around into Buffalo Brothers, turn number 4. J. Michael Kelly, Rooster Tail and a half behind him coming out of turn number 4. J. Michael's flying the Graham trucking boat. It's a nice ride, but it is not a ride that is going to be able to catch up with Jimmy Shane as walking back and forth on the spot since Graham trucking 12 across the start-finish line, and here comes Jimmy Shane already into turn number 1 at the bottom end of the course.
Oh, we had a spin up at the upper end, Eccles.
Oh,
Hey, the 441 is hooked up here again. You're going to have to go a little wide out of this corner.
Do I have room to go wide on J. Michael?
Yes. Just exit that corner in about lane 3. You should miss him.
Eccles is currently in lane number 2.
Yeah, he's in a bad spot.
As they will come around the top end of the course. We don't have a black flag out on the course. Jimmy Shane coming up the backstretch with a Rooster Tail and a half lead over J. Michael Kelly in the 12. So Shane into turn number 3, and we'll watch how tight it gets here with the 440 in lane number 2 in between the exit pit of turn 4 and the start-finish line. Shane is going to come way out wide. J. Michael Kelly is going to come out even wider. They know the orange boat is in their path, and they pass safely on the outside. Jimmy Shane across the start-finish line now for the white flag lap, and here comes J. Michael Kelly in lane number 6 way outside, and now they're actually...
The 2017 Hapo Columbia Cup Heat 4A.
Side lane, so important in Heat 4A from SML Pueblo Market.
And the way you called him, Michael, on the readout there, that's the way they're coming out of the race course. First away, the U3, the Greeks.
You're all clear. Jimmy did the same thing in last night. 12, so right towards the far back. Not even on the plane. Get through a couple seconds here. We transfer them out the game.
We'll have our 3 combatants out on the water. Tony, coming your way, and what a beautiful sight on a gorgeous river right now.
And the way the sun is just...
The 3 Griggs Ace Hardware, Jimmy King.
No question about it, but here comes the blue and white, as you like to call it, that Home Street blue.
I thought that's what we named it last year. It was Home Street Blue. We're going with it.
It is.
The U12 Graham Trucking, J. Michael Kelly.
Exit pin, and he is heading down the back stretch, and we've got 3 boats out on the course.
Yep, Jimmy King in the 3, the Turbinator, the Griggs boat into turn number 3. You pull it auto parts.
The U1 Home Street Bank, Miss Madison, Jimmy Shane.
Way through, cutting through the infield, J. Michael Kelly makes his first move through the Esco Electric DMZ to the front stretch.
You will establish your lane right here at the start finish, and it's yours. Inside 330, now at 325. Home Street all the way up into turn 2, full turn.
Side lane.
Jimmy Shane will go around the top end of the course into turns 3 and 4. Now into Buffalo Brothers turn number 4 for Jimmy Shane in the 1 Home Street Bank. Both of the red boats, that'll be J. Michael Kelly and the 12 Graham Trucking down into turn number 1. Oh, Jimmy King's going to knife through the infield and the Esco Electric DMZ and head to the back stretch.
Picking up speed, heading to the start-finish line. He cannot cut for a full another buoy length, so you're in good position. I'm watching him. I'm watching. This is his first chance to cut. Nope, not cutting. Now he's cutting. You can see him. He's coming across.
To the backside.
That'll group these boats up a little bit tighter than they've been so far for the first couple of minutes.
2.5 minutes.
Jimmy King will be...
That was 75 miles an hour, nobody said a word.
May continue to the top end into U Pullen Auto Parts turn number 3 and Buffalo Brothers turn number 4. He will head to the top end.
Kelly does.
J. Michael Kelly looks like he's going to continue.
And he is cutting across. He's coming across the lights turn. The 3 has lane on him. The 3 is cutting him down. He's out into lane 2 now. Jimmy's in lane 2.
Shane in the home street jumps over the wake into lane number 2.
Just under 2 minutes to go. I wonder if this is actually employed by Kelly, who's going to do his cut across the DMZ when he gets down here towards turn.
He may be trying to scope time to do a cut under. I'll keep eyes on him.
And I'm wondering if Shane and King are going to have to go all the way around and not cut through, and Kelly can...
Going to cut underneath them as we get closer, if we can. Nice, you're burning time. That's 1 minute 30 seconds. Okay. Go ahead and swing around underneath them. Nice and easy.
He's going to cut the infield.
Yes, he is now. I don't know if I like where he is now. Oh, Mikey, I don't know about that maneuver.
I think he
If
had
the other guys...
Yeah, 116. He's early, man. Just sit still. Go wide. Go wide.
He had at least one, if I recall, last year, 1 or 2 of these sub 80 mile an hour penalties that he had last year at this race. So
And he's got to get it up.
Yeah, he's got to get going. Listen to the radio, guys.
Haven't heard any chatter just yet. Oh,
all right, so we're under a minute now. White flag out indicating under a minute before race time as they cut across midway up the backstretch.
Jimmy Shane pulled to the outside.
so Shane on the outside, King in lane 2, Kelly in lane...
I don't see any strobes. I don't see any strobes. Stay at 80.
Speed for J. Michael Kelly because he's got some...
12 to pick it up.
And he's just gotten called.
Yep, told to pick it up.
30.
30 seconds. J. Michael
Well,
Kelly does
Jimmy
put his
King's
foot
got to
into
pick it up too. King is...
extremely slow in lane number 2. Jimmy
21, 20. Hold on to it. Don't get jumpy at all.
20 seconds to the start of Heat 4A, brought to you by SM El Pueblo Market.
Shane and King could have a whole bunch of momentum coming to the start-finish line.
J. Michael Kelly with a crawl to the start-finish line.
3,
2, 1. That's
J.
gonna be
Michael
close.
Kelly was just clean.
Probably jumpers. Let's go.
The Griggs boat heading down the front stretch in the lead in lane number 2 with Shane on the outside in lane number 3.
Well, this could get very interesting, but you got the 3 down here first. On the outside is going to be Jimmy Shane, but it's J. Michael Kelly on the inside. He's got lane position, Tony.
And it is J. Michael Kelly. He's trying to catch up. Jimmy King in the 3 has got the lead as they head down the backstretch.
2 bright red boats going 1-2 up the backstretch. J. Michael Kelly and deck to deck now with the 3 with Jimmy King. The Griggs Ace Hardware boat up the backstretch, and you can see Jimmy Shane now is challenging. All 3
Slide. Push on him. Let's go.
they go into U-Pull Auto Parts turn number 3. J. Michael Kelly on the inside, short track around, holding that buoy line pretty darn tight as they get
Nice turn. Nice turn. It's you and the 3.
second place. Jimmy Shane is falling back a little bit in the Home Street Bank in lane number 3. It's 2 red boats across the start-finish line. J. Michael Kelly in the lead, but look at Jimmy King in the Terminator. He's going to try to take the lead down the front stretch.
1 up, 1 down, 3 to go. J. Michael Kelly on the inside, gonna get down here first. Got about 4 boat lengths on Jimmy King, and then back about 6 more. Is Jimmy Shane on the outside. J. Michael Kelly right now is moving away, Tony. Look at all that water. There is some power coming off the back end of that boat. It is J. Michael Kelly in the 12, but here comes the Terminator trying to cash in on it. He's a half a rooster tail behind.
It's a half a rooster tail lead for J. Michael Kelly in the Graham Trucking number 12 coming up the backstretch. He's holding it right now. This time Jimmy King in the turbine boat, not able, the piston-powered boat rather, not able to catch him. Into turn number 3, the U-Pull and Auto Parts turn. Into Buffalo Brothers turn number 4. It's J. Michael Kelly in the Graham Trucking and a beautiful turn on the buoy line. Jimmy King is now a rooster tail back as they come onto the front stretch. Jimmy Shane, a rooster tail back of Jimmy King in the piston-powered Griggs boat. J. Michael Kelly holds the lead as they come down the front stretch.
Halfway through our Heat 4A, it is J. Michael Kelly, and I'm telling you, he is flying that U.
Let them know if possible 1 minute penalty for jumping the gun. We're still reviewing.
Flying, and King's got more than a rooster tail on Jimmy Shane. He's giving ground, Tony. And he's bouncing across the top, and he's making it go really fast now. He's got something in that engine, and he is trying to catch up with J. Michael Kelly. Shane's on the inside. That's it. Shane went to the inside.
So Shane jumps to the inside. He'd fallen so far back, he takes in position number 1 coming up the back stretch. But it's J. Michael Kelly and running away from the field right now, just over a rooster tail lead ahead of Jimmy King in the 3. Coming out of the exit pin of the Buffalo Brothers turn number 4,
Because Jimmy tried to dive underneath Jimmy King, so he's running in your trough. So we don't want to move Jimmy King out too far.
J. Michael Kelly across the start-finish line now, and now it's Jimmy King.
You're gonna hear tight lane 2. Get right on J. Michael's lane. Tight lane 2.
You got 3 in the books, 1 to go. White flag flying, and it's J. Michael Kelly. He flies the boat as he gets to the entrance bend. Jimmy Shane trying to move up on the inside, but he's not making up any ground. He's in a lot of slop, Tony. Watch Shane down here.
He is bouncing all over the place, and he just went out into the inside, and he is really taking on the tops of those rollers. He is solidly in 3rd place. Look at the 2 red boats way out in...
Copy. 12 jump. Copy on the 12.
For J. Michael Kelly and the 12 Graham Trucking, but we've got a problem.
Absolutely. The officials have ruled that J. Michael Kelly did jump the gun. He was early by about what looked like a half a second to a second maybe, but early enough that he's going to get penalized for jumping.
So
that means the 3.
Jimmy King in the 3. Griggs.
Bring it home. We'll go get him.
J. Michael Kelly will finish on the course first, but he jumped the gun. First place goes to your piston-powered boat, the Griggs Ace Hardware.
Here, U3. Check the flag, slow her down.
Settled for a 3rd place finish after coming across the start-finish line about a half a second early to start Heat 4A from SM El Pueblo Market.
Oh, and you should have heard the crowd jump up and down over on this side of the river as the 3 gets the win.
Hapo Columbia Cup, Heat 4B.
Back to the Portsmouth Royal Barge at the Griggs Ace Hardware start-finish line, and the DeJulio, the 11 is out on the course. Miss DeJulio presents J&D's STEM Acceleration with Tom Thompson. Out first for Heat 4B from SM El Pueblo Market. Let's go to Tony, Tire Factory, turn 2.
Well, we read earlier today, this boat right here ran very, very well, and I'm telling you, they've got something going on there. And look for this.
The U11, Mr. Julio presents J&D's Tom Thompson.
Getting himself out into the course, and the 99 is right behind him.
Yeah, that must say that Greg Hunt got that up on the plane a lot easier than he has in previous heats.
I'm really looking forward to seeing this matchup here. This is going to be good because Thompson's way out there right now, which means that Andrew Tate.
The 9, Les Schwab Tires, Andrew Tate.
And then of course you got Greg Hop, who's just been in one windy boat ride and then into the boat here. And
The 99.9, Car Star, Miss Rock, Greg Hop.
so it should be very interesting to see how these 3 design themselves to get ready for the start.
And you got Andrew Tate in the 9, Les Schwab Tires. The 11, Miss DeJulio presents J&D's STEM Acceleration with Tom Thompson. That's your green boat, mostly bright green and red up on the sponsons. And then the 99.9 Leland Unlimited's Racing presents Car Stars, powered by Miss Rock with Greg Hop, the mostly black boat.
And they're picking up. They've been chomping at the 11s, and he's getting the stroke, which means he's under 80, which means they need to get him picked up. It looks like he has.
So coming down the front stretch, just out of Buffalo Brothers, turn number 4, is the 99.9 across the start finish now with Greg Hop. The 9 on the inside of him. Across the start finish line now, the Les Schwab Tires with Andrew Tate. Tom Thompson's down at the bottom end of the course in lane number 3, heading to Tony and Tire Factory turn number 2 in our 4 corners super speedway.
Yeah, he's going to have to think about what he's going to do now. Is he going to go cut back across? As he's got to stay at that 80 mark, and he's awfully close to it. I mean, just by the size of that rooster tail. Now here coming up really quick is the 9 as he leaves out of the exit pin, and he's chasing down lane number 1. So he's now slowed down just a bit. The 99 is staying right in pace. So again, these boats are, they've got some good experience, good drivers on board. This is going to be interesting.
So Thompson is at the top end of the course, and he will not cut into the ESCO Electric infield. Instead, into U Pullen Auto Parts turn number 3, and now heading to Buffalo Brothers turn number 4. Tate is chasing him down on the outside right now as the milling period continues, the start of Heat 4B. Wow, Tom Thompson just gave up the inside and moved out, and now moves back inside. And Andrew Tate is going to ride
130
on the inside. Cutting across the infield is Greg Hop, and Hop with not much room. He's going to have to cut over the top of the wake of the 2 boats ahead of him. So the 9 on the inside with Tate Tom Thompson in lane number 2. Hop's going to be in lane number 3 in the 99.9 as they come down the front stretch to turn number 1.
If Hop wanted to cut it, he could do it right now.
Yeah, they're about to almost.
Not going to do it. I mean, if he really wanted to stick his nose in there, the time was right to do it.
Yeah, but Tom Thompson's going to need to be on the inside, I think, Tony.
Yeah, he's now on the in lane number 2 and trying to sneak up behind here. Let's watch and see what he does.
50 seconds.
So the boat's on the backstretch. Hop is trying to...
And he's going to catch up. 99 is going to be right there. So you're going to have 3 boats that are going to be swinging into the start-finish.
Well, Hop's a master on the outside of having that boat speed and that momentum and hitting the start-finish line right on time. So on the inside, it's Tate in the 9, Les Schwab Tires.
30.
Number 2 will be Thompson in the 11. And on the outside, the 99.9 with Greg Hop. Countdown continues.
9 and 11
4B.
both getting calls to pick it up.
4B brought to you by SM El Pueblo Market. Top end of the course. It's going to be
10.
Tate at the exit pin. Thompson now at the exit pin. Hop now at the exit pin of Buffalo Brothers turn number 4.
4.
Onto the front stretch.
2, 1, mark.
All boats very clean, and it's going to be Thompson with the boat speed heading down the front stretch, but Tate on
Start. Have fun, my friend.
heading into turn number 1 to reclaim the lead.
It's going to be Tate, though, who's going to gobble him up by the time they get down there. He's got they're pretty much dead even when they get here. But Tate is in perfect position now on the inside, Tony.
And it is. It's going to be Andrew Tate. He'll get to take a boat length lead, but Thompson's found a little bit extra speed. Nice move out of the turn 2 as he's trying to catch up and get deck to deck.
2 rooster tails on Hop. You're outside.
Turn 2's in lane number 2. We have seen so far Thompson actually gained ground in lane number 2 in turn number 2, unable to hold on to that lead heading up the back stretch, though. Now about 6 boat lengths behind Andrew Tate in the 9. Then back a rooster tail and a half is Hop in the 99.9. Coming into the U-Pullet Auto Parts turn number 3. Now Buffalo Brothers turn 4 in our 4-corner super speedway. About 4 boat length lead right now for Tate, but Thompson's trying to bring it back in. As they come over the start-finish line, it's going to be only a 2 boat length lead, and now it's going to be Thompson taking the lead down the front stretch in the 11.
Tate has got to be wondering, where did this guy come from?
About a rooster tail back on the outside.
Beside me, and they are exactly as they were the last time. Basically dead even. Still Tate with the lane position on the inside.
And it's a little bit choppy on the inside lane, and Tate bounced on top of some rollers there. And again, here comes Thompson. He's got some speed. Another excellent turn for Thompson.
Yeah, that Tire Factory turn 2 move by Tom Thompson, fabulous in the bright green DeJulio. Up the back stretch, falling back a little bit as Tate puts the
Vibration at high throttle. I'm backing her down a little bit. Quite a bit. There's I'm not sure if it's motor or gearbox.
though with Tom Thompson in lane number 2 in the 11. Extremely good work in the corners. Let's see what he can do at the top end of the course. They are deck to deck as they come into turn number 4 for the Buffalo Brothers at the exit pin. Tate's going to pull ahead in lane number 1 by about
a quarter of a rooster tail back.
On the outside. Oh, he's flying that boat out of the water. A very loose ride coming across the start-finish line. It's Tate followed by Thompson, and Thompson will take the lead coming down the front stretch again.
Yeah, Thompson's right here with him. He's going to be in a little better position than he was the last time, and I tell you what, we're halfway through this heat, and we haven't solidified anything. There was a lot of air, and Tom Thompson hung the 11 out for a couple of moments there. Tony, watch him.
And it is. It's very soupy down here all the way through. Both boats. And it is Tom Thompson out of the exit pin first. And he is looking to get some extra speed down the back stretch.
Thompson swung way out wide at Tire Factory turn number 2, Tony.
And he is looking really good. He has managed this turn as a master.
He's got the lane on the outside, but the lead coming up the backstretch. Now Tate's going to regain the lead coming up to the top end of the course. So Tate by about a boat length, but Tom Thompson with a great run on the outside in lane number 2. Can he hold on to that position? Tate on the inside. He's going to push him out a little bit wider this time at the exit pin at turn number 4 for Buffalo Brothers. Thompson out on the right hip, out on the right sponson. Pulls even with him on that front stretch. Whoa, Tate got a little bit loose on the front stretch. Across the start-finish line, it's a 2 boat length lead for Andrew Tate, but look at Thompson again on the outside.
Well, we're going to have to decide something here sooner or later, and it's going to be sooner because this is the white flag lap. They'll hang the checker in front of you, Michael, next time, and we haven't changed a darn thing. They are virtually dead, even maybe a boat length lead, so this is the last time in turn 2, Tony.
Oh, and the 11 swung out really wide, lost a lot right there. He went into lane number 4. He's trying to make it up right now. He's a rooster tail behind the 9.
So the 9 able to get a bigger lead coming through Tire Factory turn number 2 than we have seen the entire heat 4B. And it's a lead of about 3 boat lengths coming up the backstretch, maybe 4 now for Andrew Tate and the Les Schwab 9. Tom Thompson, the DiGiulio on the outside, 3 boat lengths back right now as they head into U-Pull-It Auto Parts turn number 3, coming around the top end of the course. Into Buffalo Brothers turn number 4. Thompson's going to press it hard, try to catch him on the front stretch. But he swings out wide at the exit pin of turn number 4, and he's not going to be able to catch the 9. It's going to be Andrew Tate in the 9. Les Schwab Tires with the checkered flag in 4B. Tom Thompson, what a run in the 11. Mr. Julio to take second place. Greg Hopp in the 99.9 is coming into the Buffalo Brothers turn number 4 now and will finish in 3rd place.
People ask me all the time, what is an unlimited hydroplane?
Well, after 35 years of racing, I'm still trying to get it sorted out, but the best I can come up with so far is
it's an airplane.
It's a boat.
Yes, it is a boat because we are on water, but the idea is
we'll fly really close to the lake without getting too far up in the air.
I get to go 200 miles an hour in here and make hard left turns. We actually experience about 5 Gs. Fast as hell. 200-mile-an-hour beast. So this is our engine, Lycoming T55. This is based out of a Chinook helicopter from the Vietnam era. It produces about 2,700 horsepower. What powers the boat over 200 miles per hour. And it's a gas turbine that's powered by jet fuel, but it's not a jet. It runs through the shaft. And then it gets connected to this gearbox. This gearbox has 3 gears in it. It goes through a propeller shaft. And what it does, it basically reduces the 18,000 RPMs coming out of the engine, and it spins the propeller about 9,000 RPMs. This is the propeller. This is what makes us go 200 miles an hour.
This is our rudder.
This is what steers the boat.
It is connected directly to steering cables, which go to my steering wheel. Direct drive, no power steering.
This here is the skid fin.
or the turn fin,
We can change the angle, the height, and the location fore and aft.
and it is what controls the boat going around a turn.
There is a metric buttload of pressure that sits against these. That's a technical term.
Both sides, there are 2 canoe-type objects.
These are sponsons. This is what the boat rides on.
And also trap air to go underneath the boat.
This is what picks the boat up and gets it up on the air and off the water.
The more air under the boat, the faster the boat's gonna go because there's less drag against the water.
This is the canard.
On my left foot, in the cockpit, I control this wing.
It controls the speed and the attitude of the boat.
More air under the boat equals more speed. Too much air under the boat equals blowovers, which can be disastrous.
We have this rear wing section, and we can adjust it here on the trailer. It's a great big trim tab. Give you a quick tour of my office here. This is based off of an F-16 fighter jet cockpit.
Kind of tight in here, kind of cramped. Very, very hot. Black boat, black driver suit. Temperatures in here get about 130. Kind of hard to drive, but it's the only thing I want to do in my life.
This is an unlimited hydroplane.
This is an unlimited hydroplane.
This is an unlimited hydroplane. This is an unlimited hydroplane. This is an unlimited hydroplane. This is an unlimited hydroplane.
This is an unlimited hydroplane.
This is an unlimited hydroplane.
I'm Don Poyer, and welcome to the 1984 Budweiser APBA Gold Cup. The battle over the Gold Cup began way back in 1904, making it one of the oldest trophies in the world of motorsport racing. The names engraved are like slices of history. Such names as the Tempo with bandleader Guy Lombardo, the Slow-Mo 4, the Miss Thriftways, the Pay 'n Packs, the Budweisers, the Atlas Van Lines, and names like, Ted Jones, George Henley, Dean Chenoweth, and of course the great one, Bill Muncie. Now moving on to present day, the top qualifier for this race, the Union Bay Squire Shop at better than 135 miles per hour, did indeed suffer some damage when it lost a blade on its propeller in its last test run yesterday. They brought the boat back to the trailer. In the meantime, fuel fumes were caught underneath the deck. The left quarter rear panel was blown out when there was a small explosion. One of the crew members, Steve Olson, suffered first and second degree burns, but we're told that he is going to be all right. The crew worked all night trying to get ready for today, and of course that's the big question. Will they be able to race in the 1984 Gold Cup? Jim Hendrick is down at the Squire Shop now. Jim?
Well, down here at the Squire Shop, only one man can answer that, the boat owner himself, Bob Stile. Bob?
Jim, what can somebody say when after your crew has been up 24 hours repairing from the strut to the damage, the explosion? All I can say is that we've got one heck of a good crew here, and they've done an all-night job, and they've put it back in A1 condition.
So the boat will run, and now let's check with the crew chief up here if we can bother him. Jim Harvey. Jim, congratulations. I understand no sleep.
Well, that's not the first time this week. We made some changes to the boat before coming here, and we were up for 3 days. We're confident of the repairs we made, and we're just waiting now for the glue to dry.
Okay, good luck today. Well, the defending national champion and, of course, the Gold Cup champion is the Atlas Van Lines, and I understand that Don is down with Chip Hanauer right now.
Right you are, Jim. Well, Chip, here you are going for number 3 in a row.
Yeah, I try not to think about that at this point. In fact, I try not to even think that's the Gold Cup. It's just another race right now until it's over with.
Very briefly, how are you engine-wise? I know you've got only 2 to work with.
Right, we're hurting a little bit. We heard an engine in a fire here on Thursday, and that has us down to really one good one and one big question mark.
All right, another question mark for today in the Gold Cup. Let's go to Jim now for the rundown of Heat 1A.
Okay, Don, this will be the first of 4 15-mile heats. You must go 60 in the Gold Cup if you're to win it. An extra heat because it is the Gold Cup. Now let's check Heat 1A. Ron Armstrong will drive Bob Patterson's entry, checked in at 119.895. Tom Deeth will drive the Light All-Star. He checked in at 120.7. Earl Hall will chauffeur the Frank Kenny Toyota. 120.8 his qualifying speed. Ron Snyder in the cockpit of the American Speedy Printing, 126.9. Defending champion Chip Hanauer in the Atlas Van Lines, 133.499. And the Budweiser to be driven by Jim Kropfeld, his qualifying 134.2. Now let's quickly go to the other end of the pits where we'll analyze Heat 1B with, of course, Don.
All right, Jim, here's the rundown now for Heat 1B. 6 boats. First of all, the Oboy Oberto with Scott Pierce aboard, the U40. They've been on the entire circuit, speed of 113.394 miles per hour. The Joe Ritchie Spirit of Detroit with Todd Yarling aboard, the co-rookie of the year last year, qualifying at 114. Milner Irvin and the Miss Renault qualifying at 129.853, a very good qualifying time. And the Executone Telephones with George Johnson aboard, speed of 129.5, its fastest this year. The Tosti Asti with Steve Reynolds back with the number 1 boat, qualifying at better than 134. And the top qualifier of the week, the Union Bay Squire Shop with Mickey Riemann aboard at 135.4 miles per hour. All right, there's your rundowns for Heat 1A, for Heat 1B, and we've got the Gold Cup for 1984 coming up. Don Poyer along with Jim Hendrick back on the shores of the Columbia River for the 1984 Gold Cup, one of the gems on the circuit. And already we have a matchup between the Budweiser and the Atlas Van Lines in Heat 1A. American Speedy Printing, the Light All-Star, Kenny Toyota, and of course the Patterson Special. Let's now look at the drivers for Heat 1A. Ron Armstrong, a veteran of many races, his second race for 1984 in the Patterson Special. Frank Kenny Toyota and Earl Hall, he drove the Squire last year, making his debut in '84. Tom Deeth of the Light All-Star, one of the veterans, has several records in Gold Cup history. And Ron Snyder, American Speedy Printing. They've had problems out here in the West and in Detroit. Let's see how they do today. Jim Kropfeld in the Budweiser, qualifying at better than 134 miles per hour. And of course, the man with the new turbine, Chip Hanauer, the 2-time defending national champion and 2-time Gold Cup champion. And the newest boat on the tour making its debut today, the Kenny Toyota Volvo, having trouble getting started. Here's Tom Deaton and the Light All-Star. Looks like they won't be ready either for Heat 1A, because in the meantime, here come the boats for the start of 1A here in the Tri-Cities for the 1984 Gold Cup. Atlas in lane 1, the Budweiser lane 2, American Speedy lane 3. Here they come. A great start by the Budweiser. Jim Kropfeld in lane number 2 as they come into the east turn. The bridge turn, they call it here in Pasco in the Tri-Cities of Washington. The Budweiser, lane 2 on the outside. You see Ron Snyder on the inside. On the right side of your screen is the Atlas Van Lines, the turbine-powered boat. A winner at Madison in 1984. The Budweiser, of course, a winner 3 times in 1984 with Jim Kropfeld aboard. You see Bernie Little. He's happy to see his boat getting around the turn first. He still is in lane number 2. There's Kropfeld out of Cincinnati, Ohio. Uh-oh, American Speedy Printing is slowing down. Ron Snyder may be in trouble. We're down to 3 boats. The third one being the Patterson Special with Ron Armstrong. Back to the west turn here on the first lap of 1984's Gold Cup. And I'll tell you, Kropfeld is picking him up and laying him down. He is screaming around this course, holding on to the Atlas, giving him on his left hip on the inside. There you see the third place boat is the Patterson Special. The Budweiser, we've got a time here. First lap. A new national record Budweiser has just broken. In fact, Jim Kropfeld beating his old record of 1:35.3. He just went 1:35.4. A national competition lap record by Kropfeld here in the Gold Cup for 1984. You see the Budweiser. Now he has a rooster tail lead and better over the Atlas Van Lines. Remember, this is a day of endurance. There is an extra flight of heats. We run 6 full preliminary heats or races before we go to the final. So now it appears that if the Budweiser can hold on, could get 400 points, and then the Atlas Van Lines would be second place with 300 points. It is a day of endurance, a marathon day. Get the points, get into the final, and then give it everything you've got. You see Chip Hanauer, the 2-time defending champion, in not only the Gold Cup, but in national points. The Budweiser, current national points leader, with Jim Kropfeld aboard out of Cincinnati. You see now from the helicopter high above towards the east, and the bridge turn down in the far end of the picture. The 3 boats, the Patterson Special with Ron Armstrong. This, of course, the U-12, the Budweiser. Suffered a little damage on the left sponson back in Detroit, but it's patched up and ready to go. In fact, it is running some sensational times. He has not gone below 132 miles per hour yet on this particular race. The Budweiser is running as well now as it ever has in 1984. And of course, this is a very fast course. They get out here in the west and the times really start to climb. The Atlas Van Lines, the very quiet whoosh boat, the Turbine. He is in second place. Here, the U-80, the huge, heavy boat, 10,800 pounds. Ron Armstrong aboard, but it's the Budweiser in control and screaming here on the Columbia River in the 84 Gold Cup. 134. There you hear Bernie Little shouting 134, another one of his great speeds for the Budweiser. The Budweiser, as I said, has not gone below 132 miles per hour yet on this Heat 1A for the 1984 Budweiser Gold Cup. The Bud in control here on the final lap of Heat 1A. In second place is the Atlas Van Lines, which will pick up 300 points if he completes this heat. Again, it is a day of points. It is not like a normal race where they have only 2 flights of heats. You can give it more. Here, you've got to keep the engines running. The Budweiser, they'll run a different engine for each heat. They're healthy today. The Atlas Van Lines, they have only 2 engines. And here's the checkered flag. 400 points to the winner of Heat 1A, the Budweiser and Jim Kropfeld. Chip Hanauer, second place, 300 points to the Atlas Van Lines. And third place to the U-80, the 10,800-pound Patterson Special with Ron Armstrong aboard. Jim Henrik is down in the pits now with the winning owner. Jim?
Before the boat gets in here, let's talk to Bernie Little. Bernie, I understand those are some fantastic speed.
Yeah, they sure were. It goes right back to what we said about qualifying. You know, we go out and break in our engines, and we really don't worry about that. And get a driver like Jim Kropfeld and Miss Budweiser, we're out to win, baby.
It was a long day of endurance of man and machine. Now, you really stretched it that first time.
That's right. We brought 4 new engines to win this race, and we're going for it.
Not only did the Budweiser set a lap competition record, but also a 15-mile heat record of better than 133 miles per hour. The old mark at 125 plus. Let's go back to Jim in the pits.
Hey, let me stick a microphone underneath a happy driver there. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can't talk right. I can't say too much. I'm out of breath.
Well, listen, that was pretty thrilling. You know, you had a 135 lap that first time, 135.4. And did you know that he was on your hip?
I saw him back there all the time. I was just trying to get far enough ahead of him where I could cut to the #1 lane and chop him off a little bit.
And you did that about the second lap.
Well, yeah, I waited. I thought I had about 10 boat lengths, and I came over.
Congratulations. Back up to you, Don.
And coming up, Heat 1B with the Squire Shop, the Tosti Asti and Company, right after this timeout.
Don't purchase.
Welcome back to the Gold Cup. Here in Tri-Cities, Washington, your rundown for Heat 1B. The Squire Shop, top qualifier. The Tosti Asti with Steve Reynolds. The Renault, Executone, Joe Ritchie, and Oboy Oberto. Let's meet the drivers now. Scott Pierce out of Seattle, Washington, driving the U40. Todd Yarling out of Madison, Indiana, driving the Joe Ritchie Spirit of Detroit. George Johnson out of Seattle. George Johnson, driver of the Miss Executone Telephones. Milner Irvin out of Coral Gables, Florida, near Miami, driving the Miss Renault, the U3. Also, Steve Reynolds now driving the #1 boat, the Miss Tosti Asti. No more backup boat here. And the top qualifier, Mickey Riemann and the Union Bay Squire Shop. All 6 boats are now running for Heat 1B. On the inside is the Miss Renault. In about lane 3, it appears the Squire Shop with Mickey Riemann. It looks like Irvin and Riemann right there. Good starts for both boats. Here we go, Heat 1B. The Tosti Asti on the outside of the Squire Shop as they rumble into the bridge turn here on the east turn in Pasco. Slowing down already is the Oboy Oberto with Scotty Pierce aboard. Coming out of that turn now on the inside, Milner Irvin out of Miami, Florida in the Miss Renault. On the left side of your screen, the leader, Mickey Riemann and the Union Bay Squire Shop. The Merlin engines shoving it down the backstretch. There you see, second place now belongs to Tosti Asti and Steve Reynolds back driving his #1 boat instead of the backup boat. You might recall the Tosti was, of course, damaged in Evansville, Indiana. We'll talk about it more in a moment. In the meantime, the Squire Shop moving along the west turn and about to complete lap #1. Good battle for second and third place, though, between Reynolds and Milner Irvin. There's Irvin in the Miss Renault, the John Staudinger design and built boat out of Detroit. And in fourth place is the Executone Telephones. Back to Mickey Riemann in the Squire Shop going into the bridge turn. Bob Stile, and on the right, Jim Harvey. Of course, of the Squire Shop, owner and crew chief respectively. They're in first place. There's the battle for second and third. Steve Reynolds in lane #2. A Rooster Tail lead over the Renault and Milner Irvin. And the leader, Mickey Riemann, back after a 6.5-year layoff. Back in what he considers a very exciting ride in a camp that is full of spirit. These people have fought all night. Last night, trying to get this boat ready to race. They had to replace, of course, the skin on part of the deck, the left rear quarter panel, and they're back here running very well, right around 129 miles per hour. Steve Reynolds settling in at second place. Third place, Milner Irvin and the Miss Renault. The Oboy Oberto is conked out. Scott Pierce on the infield here in Pasco in the Tri-Cities area on the Columbia River. Mickey Riemann, second in national points this year. As you see, Tosti Asti lapping Joe Ritchie, Spirit of Detroit, and Todd Yarling. Back to the Squire Shop and Mickey Riemann, who is averaging right around 128 miles per hour. And remember, of course, they run 6 laps in the Gold Cup, 3 different heats. It's a long day before they get out the trophy. Second place goes, of course, to Steve Reynolds right now. Second place for the #1 boat. Third place to the Renault and Milner Irvin. Fourth place back to Executone Telephones. George Johnson, one of 3 owners for this boat, and is running very, very well. Steady improvement by that boat throughout 1984. Mickey Riemann going down the back chute in front of better than 100,000 people here in the Tri-Cities area. On the outside, again, is the Joe Ritchie Spirit of Detroit. On the inside, the Executone Telephones, George Johnson, and the Squire Shop here. Of course, when it used to be the Atlas Van Lines was the blue blaster, the blue and white colors. Now it's got the red, white, and brown of the Union Bay Squire Shop. Beautiful boat. A little choppy now out there on the west turn as you see the Tosti Asti coming down the main chute, and Steve Reynolds out of Seattle, Washington. The Miss Renault, again, lost its wing racing in Detroit, but it's fine now. From the helicopter, you see the Executone coming down the main chute, past the start-finish line. Beautiful shot as you ride at better than 150 miles per hour, along with George Johnson. Into the east turn, back to the Joe Ritchie Spirit of Detroit, and Todd Yarling out of Madison, Indiana. Mickey Riemann, though, in full control here on the final lap in Heat 1B. Mickey Riemann, second in national points in this boat, is about to pick up another 400 points here in 1B as the winner. The Squire Shop, the Union Bay Squire Shop, rocking and rolling along. Mickey Riemann, winner of Heat 1B, 400 points. And, of course, there's Bob Stile, the owner of the Squire Shop. He knows what's just happened. Second place to Steve Reynolds and the Tosti Asti. Third to the Miss Renault. So with an average speed of better than 126 miles per hour, the Squire Shop with 400 points. Then comes the Tosti Asti, the Renault, Executone Telephones, Joe Ritchie, Spirit of Detroit, and the Aboyo Berto failed to finish. Let's go down to the winner with Jim Hendrick.
Well, the story unfolds as this man gets into a boat that had to be repaired all night long, and he wins his first heat out. Nice going, Mickey, but you were that start pretty close at the beginning there.
Yeah, I sure did, Jim, and actually I hadn't even taken an acceleration run on the course here. That's what we were going to do yesterday. When we went out, we had the propeller problems. We didn't get back in the water, so I went out there without any times at all, and when I got to the line, I was holding my breath because I knew I'd cut it close.
Pretty good for a boat that was in repair all night.
It sure was, and they were still working on it when it was hanging over the water, so we're very pleased.
Tosti Asti was second, and Don Poyer's down there now with the...
Get a word from Tom before he goes out. What do you want to do, Tommy, here in this next heat?
We got to win it. We need the points.
All right, let's look at the rundown then for Heat 2B. The Squire Shop with 400, sitting pretty well right now. Tosti, Patterson Special, Light All-Star, Spirit of Detroit, that's Joe Ritchie, and American Speedy. Here we come now with the start of Heat 2B. Wait a minute, we don't have all the boats out there. I only see 4, but here's the Tosti Asti along with the U80. Here's the start of 2B. There's the Squire Shop. It did not start the race. Mickey Riemann is heading back for the pits. They've obviously got a problem. In the meantime, let's go on now and update you on the race. Back to the race, and in the east turn, it is still the U80 and Ron Armstrong holding his own, now entering the back chute with the Tosti Asti and Steve Reynolds on the outside. This boat, it was on the beach until this weekend after being damaged in Evansville. You saw third place, the Light All-Star with Tom Deeth, and again Armstrong with great acceleration moving down in lane number 1. The Patterson Special going against the Tosti Asti into the west turn. Ron Armstrong, a veteran of many races. This is only his second race in 1984. He's trying to fend off that man on the left of your screen, Steve Reynolds and the Tosti Asti. Reynolds, though, with that great acceleration, great cornering ability, is now establishing himself in first place as he completes lap number 1. Speed for the boat, 123.6 miles per hour. Third place is the Light All-Star. And here is Joe Ritchie, Spirit of Detroit. All right, Jim Hendrick, we've just gotten word, is down in the pits with the Squire Shop camp, and Mickey Riemann. Let's find out what's happening down there and why they pulled out of this heat.
Mickey, can you tell me why you came back in?
Yeah, I have a vibration. I don't know what it is, and I had to make a big decision whether to try to run it or not. I hope I made the right one.
Back to the race. It is Steve Reynolds in first place in the Tosti Asti, the turbine-powered boat. In second place is the U-80, the Patterson Special with Ron Armstrong. Into the west turn, Reynolds. This boat that had a badly torn-up bottom after Evansville when they lost the blade off of a prop, tearing up the strut, tearing up the bottom of the boat. It is back in action now. And as you see here, a great battle for second and third between the Patterson Special on the outside, on the inside, the Light All-Star, the turbine-powered boat with Tom Deeth aboard. First place, Tosti Asti. Steve Reynolds in control as he comes into the east turn. The bridge turn here on the Columbia River on a hot, very dry day, about 85 degrees. He's in control. Ron Armstrong putting on a whale of a fight, trying to hold on to second place against the Light All-Star and Tom Deeth as they head into that same east turn here on the Columbia. The Tosti Asti in good control now, running an average speed of around 115 to 119 miles per hour. Here comes the Light All-Star. It looks like, yes, the Patterson Special is slowing down, and now it's a three-boat race with the Light All-Star in second place. Ron Armstrong going dead in the water, as you see, now near the eastern. This is Jerry Verhill, the crew chief, talking with Steve Reynolds, that man right there, much like the NASCAR or the Indy-type car racing. They can communicate while testing or while racing. Very, very valuable tool for the Tosti Asti camp. We've got turbines in first and second place here in Heat 2B in the Gold Cup for 1984. The Tosti Asti and Steve Reynolds hoping to get 400 points, which would put him in a tie with the Budweiser and the Atlas Van Lines with 700. The Joe Ritchie Spirit of Detroit, third place, Todd Yarling, co-rookie of the year back in 1981 out of Madison, Indiana. The Light All-Star in second place with Tom Deeth out of Detroit, Michigan. Back to the Tosti Asti on his final lap now here in Heat 2B. In second, the Light All-Star. This boat running much better and better. They keep improving throughout the 84 season. But the Tosti back at full strength. New aerodynamic design on the front of it, trying to use new kinds of wings to keep it stable, riding on the spots it's correct. They now have 400 points more, and they're at 700 for the day, winning Heat 2B, the Tosti Asti. Second place, another turbine, the Light All-Star with Tom Deeth, and 300 points. So here are the standings for Heat 2B and the point totals thus far today. The Tosti was 700 points, Light All-Star, Joe Ritchie was third, the Patterson Special getting 225 earlier today, American Speedy still looking for points, and the Squire Shop dropping out, won an earlier heat for 400 points. Let's go down now with Jim Hendrick to the winner, Steve Reynolds.
Climbing aboard the boat right now. If he can get his helmet off, we'll get right in the cockpit with him. Well, I'll tell you one thing. You rode a pretty good race. How is it out there?
Well, it's still a little rough, Jim, but anytime you win, it's kind of hard to find some place to complain.
When did you know that the Squire wasn't with you?
Well, Mickey gave me a signal coming down the front straightaway just about at a minute and a half to the 1 minute gun that he was going back into the pits. I acknowledged that, went ahead and left him room to get in.
Turbines 1-2 in this heat, and now Don Poyer's with number 2.
Tommy? Tom Deeth, second place, the Light All-Star. Tom, in this case, you said you needed to go out and get some points because
Get out and go in a Poulsbo RV with volume dealer pricing on every RV.
Tremendous helps you send Visa, PayPal, and gift cards in bulk worldwide. Try Tremendous.
Don Poyer with Jim Hendrick, Gold Cup 1984, the Light All-Star with Tom Deeth going out. And you see on the left, the Squire Shop was repaired in time. Their crew has done it again. Here's the rundown. The Bud, the Squire, the Renault, the Light All-Star really on the bubble with 300 points. They need a big showing here in Heat 3A. And the boat's setting up now in the west turn. Not all of them are out there. The American Speedy Printing failed to get started. Boy, it's been a tough day for Ron Snyder. That's unfortunate. They were the national points leader at one stage earlier this year. Here comes the start with the Budweiser and the Squire Shop. Budweiser in lane number 2. On the inside is Mickey Riemann in his customary position as they come into the east turn by the bridge. The Budweiser, first place. Trying to hold on to his lane is the Bud with the Squire Shop. About a half a rooster tail back as you'll see him come into the picture. The Budweiser with great acceleration coming out of the turn and going down the back chute. In first place, Jim Kropfeld out of Cincinnati, Ohio, going after another 400 points. He's already won one heat. He was second in another heat. Mickey Riemann, he needs points desperately, wanting to get into that final. He has 400 so far after pulling out of an earlier heat. The Budweiser, though, with Kropfeld digging in with a skid fin, coming around the west turn and heading for the main chute. Look at Mickey Riemann bouncing around in second place as he holds on to that position. Coming down in lane number 1, Riemann, Kropfeld and the Budweiser in lane 2 and in first place. Tom DeEath and the Light All-Star. Tom racing on his favorite course. He holds the 60-mile speed record here on this course at better than 108 miles per hour back in 1975. You see Bernie Little, the owner of the Budweiser from the pits. Bob Stile, the owner of the Squire Shop. Now, we have just gotten word that the Squire Shop evidently clipped a buoy or ran inside a buoy just prior to the start of the race. He could be penalized 1 lap. We'll have to wait and get official word. In the meantime, you see Scotty Pierce and the U40, the old boy Oberto. But the Budweiser is in first place as he comes around the west turn again. Jim Kropfeld with 3 wins already in 1984, winning in Miami, winning in Evansville, and winning in Detroit a couple of weeks ago on that wild course on the Detroit River. Second place to the Squire. Here's the Budweiser with Jim Kropfeld. Mickey Riemann, second place in the Squire Shop. Leo Boy Alberto conking out. Scotty Pierce, oh, what a frustrating day he has had with Fred Leland's boat. He will be back. And the turbine-powered Light All-Star, based out of Houston, Texas, and driven by Detroit's Tom DeEath. Milner Irvin out of Miami, Florida, Coral Gables to be exact. He is in the Miss Renault in 4th place. The Budweiser, though, in great control. What a great day for Jim Kropfeld. He has done an absolutely fantastic job of driving with a good shot at picking up his second win here. They did a little sponson repair after Detroit, the left sponson, a few other small things, but it is running as well now as it has all year. The Squire Shop, the crew up all night last night trying to get it ready after that fuel explosion earlier on. Again, now Bob Stile has gone over by a local radio to hear the broadcast to find out if his boat has been penalized an extra lap. Okay, we do have word he has been penalized. Mickey Riemann has been penalized a lap. That will not affect this boat, of course, the Budweiser. He is in first place. Here's the Light All-Star. Remember, Mickey, oh, there's some damage now to the Light All-Star. You can see the chimney for the turbine go off. He's lost his wing. And now Tom DeEath, racing, as I said, on his favorite course, has to pull onto the infield. He has 300 points. It looks like his day will be done. That's a shame. Tom DeEath putting on a great show today, trying to get into the final, but his day is done. Here comes the Budweiser now, coming around and heading for home as you see one of the rescue sleds here, awaiting if there is any problem occurring on the Columbia River. The Budweiser, the checkered flag, Jim Kropfeld, his second heat victory of the day. The Budweiser. Mickey Riemann, as I said, penalized a lap, so he will go 1 more. This is the only other boat running, the Renault with Milner Irvin, so he will get second place and 300 points, and third place will go to the Squire. Here's the final order for Heat 3A, and the points are absolutely critical now. The Budweiser, good shape with 2 firsts and a second. The Renault should be all right in the finals, guaranteed. The Squire Shop, though, really on a bubble with 625. As far as the other boats, their day is done. But the Squire's going to have to wait for the end of 3B to know if they make the final. I mentioned earlier that the Light All-Star had lost its wing, and this is all that remains, the vertical stabilizers. We'll be back with Heat 3B in just a moment. It's been a marathon-like day for Man and Machine, and now our final preliminary heat, featuring the Atlas Van Lines and the Tosti Asti, the 2 turbines. Well, will it? Here comes the Atlas Van Lines now with Chip Hanauer and his turbine-powered boat back into the pits. Chip has 700 points, so he's probably in good shape for the final, but you got to wonder why they're coming back. Yeah, he's calling it a day as far as this heat anyway, showing a low oil sign. Well, we'll have to wait and see. Meanwhile, we've got to go racing. And from high above, here come the boats now. All 5 of them, with the exception of the Atlas Van Lines, for the start of Heat 3B. Way out in front is the Tosti Asti, as you see on the right of your screen. Steve Reynolds in the Tosti Asti coming around the east turn. Already well established as the leader. There's the Kenny Toyota Volvo with Earl Hall aboard. But in first place, and a familiar spot for this boat today, Steve Reynolds having an outstanding afternoon in the Tosti Asti. Second place to the Executive with George Johnson. There's the U80 in third place. Coming around the west turn now is Steve Reynolds in the Tosti Asti. Now, we've got Jim Enrick down in the pits with Chip Hanauer, who dropped out of this heat suddenly in the Atlas Van Lines. Jim?
We'll have to find out. Chip, why'd you return?
I've got an oil level light. Same thing as like Evansville.
Oh, then you don't want to take a chance on hurting that turbine, right?
That's all we got now.
It looks like you'll get in the final. You can give it all you got then.
As long as we can fix the problem.
All right, Jim, and by the way, the Atlas Van Lines really has only an engine and maybe 3/4. Their backup engine did not perform well in Detroit, so they have their one hot engine that they'll now save for the final. In the meantime, here in our final preliminary heat, it is 3B, and that man, Steve Reynolds, in the Tosti Asti is in first place. And the Executone telephones with George Johnson, very quietly having an outstanding day today. They are chalking up the points, doing a good job of getting into the final. If they hold on to second place, they should make it all right. There's the Kenny Toyota with Earl Hall, co-rookie of the year last year along with Todd Garling. And back to Steve Reynolds as he rumbles along, getting a little choppy out there in the west turn, as it does most times here on the Columbia River. The U80, that is Ron Armstrong. A couple years ago, it used to be the Vans PX, as a matter of fact. Ron Armstrong doing a good job. Back to the Executone telephones. They have run in every heat so far today, quite well, as a matter of fact. And back to the Tosti Asti. They soften the sponson a little bit on this new boat, make it a little less lively as they come around. They spend about 3-4 weeks on it, getting it ready for the Gold Cup while they race their backup boat back in Madison, Indiana, and in Detroit, Michigan 2 weeks ago. So the Tosti Asti with their number 1 boat is in front, as you see. Boy, Earl's going for a ride. Earl Hall and the Kenny Toyota Volvo. And back to the Tosti Asti. Steve Reynolds coming in and will pick up another 400 points if he gets the win here. That will put him at 1,100 points and tie him with the Budweiser. Beautiful shot of the brand new John Steinecker designed boat out of Detroit, that being the Kenny Toyota. Back to the Tosti Asti and Mr. Reynolds. Steve Reynolds having it his way. There's the owner of the boat, Steve Woomer, down in the pits. He's happy with his boat out in front. And of course the Executone telephones with George Johnson, one of the owners of this boat, along with Bill Worster and Jerry Oaksmith. There is the Joe Ritchie Spirit of Detroit with Todd Garling. Earl Hall, in his debut, as we said, he drove the Squire Shop for Bob Style last year. Right now they're trying to dial in this brand new boat. It uses Allison engines, and he's moving along here in Heat 3B. Back to the Tosti Asti, Steve Reynolds. A lot of work. They use radio communication, a two-way system, so Steve, while driving, can communicate with Jerry Verhill, the crew chief, back in the pits, much like the NASCAR or the Indy-type cars. A great way to communicate, a wonderful tool as they try to dial their boats in. Oh, look at the Tosti! Oh, he got a lot of air underneath it, but somehow Reynolds held on. Reynolds, the winner of Heat 3B, but he gave everybody a show. Here comes the Executone, second place and another 300 points. They're in the final. The U80 and Ron Armstrong, third place, but his day is complete. And Earl Hall, the Kenny Toyota Volvo. It'll be racing in Seattle next week. So here are the numbers for Heat 3B. The Tosti Asti and Steve Reynolds getting yet another victory. The Executone telephone, they are in the final. Let's look at the rundown now. The Budweiser, the Tosti, the Atlas, my goodness, the Renault, Executone telephones, and look at this. The Squire Shop gets in there with 625 points. Let's go to Jim and Mickey Riemann of the Squire Shop.
Well, Don, a very close call for the Squire Shop with their problems. They do get in the final. Mickey, I can see you let a big breath of air out.
Yeah, really, we just found out just right now we made it in the final. We were the 6th boat in. With the problems we had in the last 24 hours, it's really a nice feeling to be here, even if we are 6th one in.
The third stop on the Race Unlimited hydroplane circuit, each team is competing for one of 10 coveted spots in the UIM World Championship this November. Although much of the buzz this season has circled around the younger drivers who have turned in impressive performances, so far, it's the veterans who have proven themselves. Steve David drove the U1 Oboy Oberto to an impressive victory in the season opener at the Lucas Oil Indiana Governor's Cup in Madison, Indiana. He won last year's Lamb Weston Columbia Cup and is hungry for a repeat. Dave Vilwalk logged his 60th career win and 8th Gold Cup championship in Detroit in the U96. A victory this weekend would tie Vilwalk with Chip Hanauer and put him one win away from Bill Muncie's record. A field of 11 unlimited hydroplanes is expected to compete, and given the historically fast Columbia River course and the speeds of the world's fastest race boats so far this season, it should be one of the fastest fleets in the history of the event. This broadcast of the 2009 Lamb Weston Columbia Cup is brought to you by Coldwell Banker Tomlinson Associated Brokers.
Heat 1A was run in the heat of the day, 4 o'clock Saturday, and here is the way things went in Heat 1A.
We are 3 minutes away from the start of Thompson Hill Cellars Unlimited Heat 1A of the 2010 Lamb Weston Columbia Cup. Lanes were chosen by the fastest qualifier speed in each heat. In lane 1, it will be the U1 Oboy Oberto. In lane 2, the U17 Miss Red Dot. In lane number 3, the Miss Albert Lee Appliance U21. FormulaBoats.com, the U5 will be in lane 4. In lane 5, Matrix Systems, the U22. And on the outside, the U57, FormulaBoats.com. Steve Montgomery, let's take a look at the drivers in this heat.
Okay. Taking a look right there at Steve David, our second fastest qualifier, a tick behind Dave Vilwalk in the U96, Spirit of Qatar. He will not race Vilwalk here, which means he won't gain or lose points on him depending on what Vilwalk does in Heat 1B. And there comes our defending Columbia Cup and National High Point champion.
Nate Brown cutting through onto the backstretch around through the Blue Bridge turn. He will be in lane number 2. At red, white, blue, and yellow, U17 Miss Red Dot with a little bit of an unusual air scoop, Steve Montgomery.
Nate Brown surprised us all by qualifying as high as he did. He'll have lane 2 as a result of that. This boat, Brian Perkins, the U21 Miss Albert Lee Appliance, a new ride for that team, expecting great things, and this could be the weekend that young Brian and that team break out.
Lane 4 will go to the U5, FormulaBoats.com. 2 FormulaBoats.com boats out of Ted Porter's stable of boats in this particular heat. The U5 will be in lane number 4, driven by Jeff Bernard.
The U5 and the U57, very similar on the water. You'll have a little trouble, I'm sure, as we will, telling them apart. The U5 runs the saltwater snorkel, the long snout over the driver, and has some white on the tail. Mark Evans in the 57 looks a little different. We talk about that when we see him. Right now we see Nate Brown moving up the backstretch into position. You saw him go by the white boat. That's Mike Webster in the U22 Matrix Systems, and now we're settling into our lanes with 27 seconds left on the clock, about a half a lap to go around to the start. Mark Allen.
We're looking at the FormulaBoats.com U5 as he comes up through traffic. He will be in lane number 4. Outside of him will be the Matrix Systems, mostly white boat with a red stripe down the center from side to side. They come around Steve Montgomery to take the start with 7 seconds left.
Nate Brown out ahead of the field in the U17. He may be early. 3, 2, 1, 0. No, Nate is right on time. He made a great start. It's back a half a rooster tail to Steve David in second place on the inside. Mark Evans way on the outside in lane 6 also made a great start.
3 boats side by side, but it's not exactly lanes 1, 2, and 3 as they go to to the Blue Bridge turn first time around. It is Nate Brown, but right beside him is Steve David in the Oh Boy Oberto. They come off that turn almost dead even. Steve David had to back off just a little bit. Your 2 leaders up the backstretch. On the inside, Steve David flying the boat, and on the outside of him is Nate Brown.
Now watch this acceleration test. On the inside, Steve David seems to have a little more in the U1 as he motors by Nate Brown in the U17. I already mixed them up. The red boats, it was the 5 that made the great start, not Mark Evans in the 57. We have a penalty called already on the the U5 lost a prop, we understand. Okay, the U5 is floating down by the Blue Bridge. He did not complete the first lap. Here's our leader at the end of lap 1, Steve David, being chased by Nate Brown, first and second after 1 lap.
And you could just see the separation between them, a full rooster tail. Steve David across the line at the end of lap number 1, and then it's Nate Brown as they head down to the Blue Bridge turn for lap number 2. Brian Perkins crosses the line in 3rd place at the end of lap number 1.
4th place boat just crossing start finish now is Mike Webster. You're looking at Steve David coming out of the first turn for the 2nd time. He's our leader in the U1 Oh Boy Oberto. Nate Brown continuing to give chase, but he's back a rooster tail now as they swing onto the backstretch. And you can see Mark Evans in your foreground just came by in the 57. That's the red boat that is still running. His teammate, the U5 Formula Boats, lost a prop, we understand. We hope he didn't damage the boat. Our leaders are into the west turn one more time.
Yep, and there's about a 2 rooster tail lead, make it maybe a 3 rooster tail lead for Steve David as you see him negotiating turn number 2 up at the west end of our race course. Wide swing. Nate Brown will have to go around. You can see he's just outside of Steve David's wake, but a long lead for Steve David as he crosses the finish line at the end of lap 2. This is the white flag lap one more time around in our preliminary Heat 1A.
Boy, Steve David has a big lead, but he's not running easy. You saw him flying the boat down the front stretch, not wanting Nate Brown to gain on him. He has less than a lap to go now to the checkered flag here in 1A. Into the turn, boat handling very nicely. Nate continuing to pursue, but probably by now has settled back into 2nd place kind of thinking. Take the 300 points and live to race tomorrow. There's your leader, Mark, onto the backstretch for the final time.
Steve David up the backstretch, and the defending national champion and our defending Columbia Cup champion, the U1 Oh Boy Oberto. You see the distance between Nate Brown in 2nd place, and there's Nate flying up the backstretch between him and Steve David way out in front of him, and it's then a long ways back to the 3rd place boat, which is Brian Perkins in the Miss Albert Lee Appliance, the U21.
One more turn and a quarter of a lap to go for our leader, Steve David. Out of Lighthouse Point, Florida, he'll bring the U1 Oh Boy Oberto, the one significant of the National High Point Championship. They won last season, and here is the checkered flag for Steve David and the Oh Boy Oberto, winners of Heat 1A. And it's back quite a ways now to Nate Brown, who finishes now in the U17 Miss Red Dot. He'll take the 300 points. That's a good start to his weekend. Brian Perkins is back a couple of more rooster tails, and he's going to come by in 3rd place in the white and green Miss Albert Lee Appliance and take 3rd place points. We are going to score 4th and 5th place here as the U22 Mike Webster's boat is out of the final turn, headed for start finish. He'll come by in 4th place, and Mark Evans in the U57 is going to trail him and pick up 5th place points. There's your Heat 1B did not go off as planned. We were not able to get all 3 laps into the book. We did have an incident involving Dr. Ken Muscatel and the U25. Let's take a look back now at what did happen yesterday in Heat 1B.
We are 3 minutes away from the start of the Thompson Hill Cellars Heat 1B of the 2010.
You see pieces flying, and at that point,
Mr. Hopp won U100, Fleury Auto Parts, 5th place, and John Zimmerman, a rookie, the U37, finished in 4th place. So we got him flipped the other way there. Actually, Greg finished 5th, but John actually did a pretty good job.
2A and 2B are often some of our most exciting races of the day. Now, when you look at this field for Heat 2A, remember the two top qualifiers are in 2B. They are not in this heat. The fastest qualifier here was Nate Brown in the U17 Miss Red Dot. He'll be in lane 4. To his left, Cal Phipps, that yellow and green Spirit of Detroit, and Brian Perkins in the new green and white Miss Albert Lee Appliance, equally fast. So it looks like a 3-boat race, Mark, between those three. And then you have John Zimmerman in lane 1 and in the U37 Peters and May. Last year's Rookie of the Year Mike Webster in the Matrix Systems U22 out in lane 5. And Mark Evans needs one more lap to be a qualified driver this year. He'll get it here, but he'll do it out in lane 6. We wouldn't expect him to be much of a factor in the race.
They let him across the line yesterday in Heat 1A, so we'll have to see. But we're looking at Brian Perkins in the Miss Albert Lee Appliance heading out of the pits right now. In 2B, we've got the two fastest qualifiers. We have the defending Columbia Cup champion 2 years, Stephen David, going for a three-peat. Dave Villwock in the Spirit of Qatar. So we've got a couple of heats that are fairly evenly balanced at this point.
And the fact that Steve David and Dave Villwock have to come from lanes 5 and 6 in 2B, that is something you don't want to miss. So stay around for 2B. But in the meantime, we have a very evenly matched field here in 2A. You need to keep an eye on lanes 2, 3, and 4. Perkins, Phipps, and Brown. One of those three should win this thing, and the start is going to be huge. Nate Brown coming down the front straightaway right now. He's going to be in lane 4, Mark. If he can get around the two guys to his left, he'll win this thing, but that's not going to be easy to do.
Nope, it's not, and from lane 4, it's very difficult to win just about anything. Lime green and lemon yellow Cal Phipps in the U13 Spirit of Detroit.
Boy, Cal has really looked good this year in that boat. He's an experienced limited driver. He really drives that thing hard. He's very, very fast. Cal could easily be a big factor here in this heat.
Just about 4.5 minutes away from the start. The lanes are already assigned, so there's no fighting for lanes. We will take a break, and we'll be right back with Heat 2A for Conover Insurance.
3 minutes and 18 seconds to the start of Heat 2A. You're looking at John Zimmerman. Rookie driver, did an outstanding job driving with Ken Muscatel in the Eastern races. He was asked to replace J.W. Myers, who was injured when the original U-37 was nearly destroyed completely in Detroit. John steps into a replacement boat. Look at this great shot from overhead now. As you see a couple of boats going through the Blue Bridge turn. That's something we haven't had before here in the Tri-Cities. That'll be great to see because we have to try to get this field through the first turn cleanly, Mark, and then see who is the first boat onto the backstretch.
Well, that'll be a great shot for us to take a look at. You were looking at Brian Perkins going through the turn on the inside from the overhead, and right now you're looking at John Zimmerman on the inside, and I can't quite tell who it is that's on the outside. He's right back of him. I think that's Mike Webster in the U22 Matrix Systems. We're coming up to 2 minutes and 25 seconds away from the start.
And there's a look at an old friend. Mark Evans did a couple of years with me in the ESPN booth. We had some great times after he retired after a devastating crash in Detroit, which pretty much ended his driving career as far as we knew. But here he is qualifying again to drive an Unlimited, and we're glad to have him back.
He's gonna have to write a new chapter in his book.
Exactly, or maybe write another book. You're looking at two boats going up the backstretch, and they will be starting in lanes 2 and 3. That's Brian Perkins in the green and white Miss Albert Lee Appliance. Nate Brown swinging out around him will be in lane 4. Here's Cal Phipps. He'll actually be in lane 3. We expect the race to come from lanes 2, 3, and 4. Cal Phipps, who you're looking at, certainly one of the contenders. You're going to see Nate Brown coming by him in the U17. That was him that left the rooster tail. And then the 21 went by, the 37 cutting through the infield with about a minute and 30 seconds to go. Probably on their last time around the race course. We have boats all over the front stretch right now. Mike Webster will be out in lane 5. He's coming down the front chute. A look at the last year's Rookie of the Year from Reading, Pennsylvania. Mark Evans following him. They'll swing on to the backstretch mark, and we should see them forming up, slowing down a little bit now at the minute and 10-second mark right there.
Yep, and we got a bunch of boats going through the Blue Bridge turn. Nate Brown, as you can see in the upper right-hand corner of your picture, is all the way to the Unlimited Lights turn. He'll cut through the infield. He either thought he was real early or he just decided he's going to take another cut through the course, but the rest of the boats, as you can see on the backstretch right there. Nate Brown went by in the front, and then the guys, rest of them on the backstretch already. So Nate's going to have to hot-foot it up here to get up with the rest of the guys and make a clean start. 42 seconds.
Looking at the boats on the backstretch, John Zimmerman where he should be in lane 1. Now he has boats coming up behind him, Mike Webster and Mark Evans in the red boat. The boats in lanes 3 and 4 are settled in. That's Brian Perkins in the U21. Albert Lee Appliance, he's in lane 2 just to the right of Zimmerman. Way out ahead is Mike Webster now. He's going to have to slow down. We have 21 seconds to go to the start of this, what should be a very exciting heat of racing. Now they swing toward us. Nate Brown has some catching up to do. One of our favorites may be out of position here. Nate Brown did not work the clock well. He is not going to make a good start. Coming down to the start now, Brian Perkins on the inside looks good. So does Cal Phipps beside him, and it's going to be Phipps leading him across the line. It looked like a good start, Mark, and it was.
It does look like a good start. Phipps just about a bow ahead of Mike Webster, and right there with him was Brian Perkins on the inside of him, and John Zimmerman in lane number 1, but he was a little ways back. We'll see as they go through turn number 1. The green and blue boat you see right there, oh, that's going to be Brian Perkins, and he has already almost a full rooster tail lead. Cal Phipps is hidden in the rooster tail of Brian Perkins, and then third place right now is the Peters and May.
Great shot from overhead as you see Perkins leading him up the backstretch. Phipps made a great start, but Perkins was one lane to his left, used that advantage to get through the turn first, and he is the leader now. But Cal Phipps is driving the U13 very, very hard. We have a problem down in the turn. Nate Brown has gone dead in the Blue Bridge turn. There were problems in the U17. Nate did not make a good start. We'll see if we're able to continue this heat with Nate floating down there. We see some smoke coming off the 17. Meanwhile, our leaders are coming around to finish lap 1. Brian Perkins in the U21, Miss Albert Lee Appliance, and he's pursued by Cal Phipps in the U13 Spirit of Detroit.
And Cal Phipps is closing up on Brian Perkins as they head down to the Blue Bridge turn. Third across the line was John Zimmerman. You saw him, and Brian gets the boat a little bit loose as they head to the Blue Bridge turn. They're going to have to know where Nate Brown is. I think he's out of harm's way. He's way out to the outside. As you look at Brian Perkins, get a couple of bumps as he goes through the Blue Bridge turn, but he's off the turn first. Cal Phipps hot-footing it right behind him off the turn, and then it's John Zimmerman.
Nate Brown was able to apply a little bit of power to the U17 and get it out of the way, fortunately, before the boats came through there. Still have a good boat race on the backstretch. The green and white boat, that's the new U21 Miss Albert Lee Appliance, showing them the short way around the race course. But Cal Phipps off to his right just as fast. The only advantage Perkins has, Mark, is that he has the inside lane.
Looking at Brian Perkins, he's going to take him out a little wider, and that makes Cal Phipps go out even wider as they come off turn number 2, head down the front straightaway. You see Brian Perkins on the right, and just out of the picture, we saw him a second ago, as Cal Phipps quite a ways out in about lane number 5. Brian Perkins, end of lap 2, in first place. He lets the boat get a little bit loose. He likes to ride a little bit loose in that boat.
And look who comes by in third place. John Zimmerman in the replacement U37 doing a great job of staying inside. We have all 6 boats up and running now as Nate Brown got restarted. Mark Evans is running 5th. Nate Brown is 6th as they come by us. Overhead now, you're looking at the Blue Bridge turn. Already the leader has gone through there, the U21 being pursued by Cal Phipps, but it looks now like it's an entirely Brian Perkins race to win. All he has to do is keep the Albert Lee Appliance boat on the water, and he should get the checkered flag.
Yeah, he is 2 or 3 rooster tails ahead of Cal Phipps in the U37 Spirit of Detroit. We're watching Brian Perkins come through turn number 2 on his third and final time around here in Heat 2A. That's Cal Phipps in the Spirit of Detroit. Follows him through the turn, almost a full turn behind. Coming down to take the checkered flag, Steve Montgomery. Brian Perkins, the U21, the Miss Albert Lee Appliance.
Team stepped up. Owner Greg O'Farrell bought him a new race boat. Brian had done an excellent job of driving the older, heavier boats the team had previously. Now he has a piece that he can really go racing with, and he wins this heat. A very evenly matched heat with Cal Phipps, who comes across in second place. And third place will go to rookie John Zimmerman, driving for Billy and Jane Shoemaker.
Now we got a race coming up here, a drag race off the finish line. It looks like Nate Brown is not going to be able to catch Mark Evans. Mark Evans on the inside as they come across the finish line. He'll finish 5th, and Nate Brown will finish 6th.
Very strange race for Nate Brown. I don't know what happened. He was way off his marks on timing. At the start of the race, he was behind the field. Then he went into the
selected, but it was the inverse of the finish from the first set of heats. And when there is a tie, for instance, and we'll look at the bottom of this ladder to start with between Dave Villwock and Steve David, they both won their heats yesterday, so the speed at qualifying determined the tiebreaker, and because Dave Villwock was faster, he got the last choice, and that was lane 5 was left. So we've got Jeff Bernard in the U5FormulaBoats.com in lane number 1. He's had a little bit of problems. His engine has not been running as well as today and yesterday as it has been in the past, and so he is in lane number 1. Next to him on the right-hand side will be the U100 Fleury Auto Parts and Greg Hopp. In the middle of this 5-boat field, U7 Graham Trucking with J. Michael Kelly. The Oh Boy Oberto will be in lane number 4, and on the outside, the Spirit of Qatar with Dave Villwock. Lots of speed, especially in those 2 outside lanes.
But you know, Mark, with all the talk about those 2 boats, the winner could be Jeff Bernard. He's in lane 1 with a very good race boat, and the 2 boats we're talking about are way outside of him. They might not be able to get around him. And teammate J. Michael Kelly, very, very quick in lane 3, and Greg Hopp has run very well this year. He has the U100 in lane 2. So the story is going to be who will win the race between Villwock and David and amass the most points in this situation, and will either one of them be able to get around some very fast boats that'll be off to their left at the start. It's going to be a very, very interesting heat.
Dave Villwock found himself in this position in Detroit in one of the heats where he was on the outside. He did not have Steve David next to him, but he ran around everybody and won that heat. One of the things that I think will be very, very interesting, every one of these drivers is an expert starter.
Right.
Every one of these guys absolutely can nail the start, and usually does. When you're looking down the list, the only question would be if Jeff Bernard's U5FormulaBoats.com will have the speed and will be able to make that start. We haven't seen him on the race course yet. We're looking at the Graham Trucking U7, but J. Michael Kelly was just pulling away from the dock. And we're at 5 minutes now, but these guys all are experts and they make great starts, so we could see them 5 across right here, and then it's going to be anybody's ballgame.
Every driver in this heat has won races, and I don't mean heats, I mean races where they won the event. Jeff Bernard and J. Michael Kelly both won last year. Greg Hopp had victories for Fred Leland in the Pico American Dream. Steve David and Dave Villwock have won a bunch the last 2 seasons, so we have 5 winners about to go sponson to sponson here, and it's really going to be critical how this first turn shakes out. First of all, we want to get everybody through there cleanly and not break anything. Then we want to watch the leaders as they come onto the backstretch, because that'll be a huge factor. An early lead here, Mark, is going to be a big advantage in this race.
Boats still spread all over the race course. We're looking at Steve David as he heads down the front straightaway. Then we have, let's see who else we're looking at here.
We need to take a break, Mark, so let's do that. And when we come back, we'll be ready to start this very exciting Green Power Incorporated Heat 2B.
Great overhead shot of Dave Villwock and J. Michael Kelly running up the backstretch. As you can see, our overhead camera. A couple of boats coming through the turn. We are at 2 minutes and 42 seconds away from the start of Heat 2B of the 2010 Lamb Weston Columbia Cup.
There's a look at the newly named and numbered U-96 Spirit of Qatar. In case you have been out of touch, that's the boat that formerly was the bright orange U-16 Miss Elam Plus, sponsored now by the Qatar Marine Sports Federation. The same folks, Sheikh Hassan bin Jabor Al Thani, who brought the entire fleet over to the Middle East for a very successful inaugural running of the Oryx Cup UIM World Championship. Now they are on board and sponsoring Team Elstrom. You're looking at Greg Hopp going up the backstretch. Greg will be in lane 2. Good spot for him. Hopper, a great starter, as Mark pointed out. He could be our leader, Mark, going into the first turn. That boat is a little older, not quite as wide, doesn't corner as well as some of the newer, lighter boats, but it has tremendous chute speed, so I won't be surprised if Greg Hopp leads the field into the first turn.
Coming down the front straightaway, you're looking at Jeff Bernard. That's the red FormulaBoats.com U5 with the long snorkel intake, and Greg Hopp on the left side of your picture. Just coming through the infield is Dave Villwock in the Spirit of Qatar, and he'll slide way outside, be coming into your picture in just a moment as you see the boats now starting to form up as they head down to the Blue Bridge turn for one more run all the way around the course and back down to the starting line. 1 minute and 20 seconds left to go.
Watching one of the red boats go through the turn, we should mention one more time for the fans watching on television and on the internet, there are 2 Formula Boats entries in this heat. The way to tell them apart is by the shape of the cowling. The U5 FormulaBoats.com runs what we call the saltwater snorkel all the time. So there is a big pipe sticking out above the head of Jeff Bernard. That's him coming up on the inside right there. Next to him, the teammate with the shorter or more standard air intake. That is J. Michael Kelly in the U7. The boat is sponsored by Graham Trucking. So those two, a little bit hard to tell apart sometimes on the race course. We will try to help you with that. Now, Mark, the field is forming up on the backstretch. Steve David back a bit, but he has plenty of time to make that up, and he's going to come around and try to time the start and try to get ahead of rival Dave Villwock, who will be off to his right.
Two guys on the outside have the longer way to go. They have to fan out. Now Steve David puts the hammer down and starts to fly through that blue bridge, through the western turn, as everybody else kicks up the rooster tails. They've done their timing runs during the testing. They know exactly how long it takes them to get down to the starting line. Here they come. You've got Bernard on the inside, then Greg Hopp, then J. Michael Kelly, and then Steve David. Dave Villwock lagging back at 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There's the zero.
It looked like a good start on my watch. Villwock is back a little bit. Steve David has a nice advantage over him going into the first turn. We would expect the leader to be someone over on the inside. Maybe Jeff Bernard in lane 1 can come through here in first place. We see both red boats out front. It is Bernard with the lead at the apex, but we have to watch now as he comes onto the backstretch. Will anybody come with him? Bernard has enough race boat to get ahead of this field, and that's exactly what he's done. Now, I think I see his teammate through the spray. We see Greg Hopp running back there. All boats are in the same rooster tail as they go up the backstretch. The Formula team is out ahead. J. Michael Kelly now right beside Jeff Bernard and is moving out slightly ahead of him.
And we can't see the two boats that are outside of them, but that is Steve David and the Spirit of Qatar with Dave Villwock as well. Top of the race course, turn number 2, first time of 3 times around. Here they all come, Steve, off the buoy. It's Jeff Bernard, leads him down the front straightaway. Right next to him his teammate J. Michael Kelly, and then it's Steve David, and then it's Dave Villwock. They're all within about 3 boat lengths.
J. Michael Kelly appears to have boat speed on his teammate, and Steve David is catching both of them. The two boats that were on the outside, Steve David and Dave Villwock, are going to fly into this turn very nearly up with the leader. Jeff Bernard not able to hold off his teammate, but now you see him use the inside as an advantage and take the lead back. J. Michael Kelly, a great turn right there as he pulls in right beside his teammate, and you see that they put a little water between them and the boats in 3rd and 4th, using the inside well.
Yes, and they're still leading. It's Kelly leading up the backstretch. Right next to him, 1 boat length behind teammate Jeff Bernard, hidden in the rooster tails behind them. Both Steve David and the Oboy Oberto and the Spirit of Qatar, Dave Villwock. Second time around, they come to the top end of the race course. This is going to be a great race for another lap and a half.
J. Michael Kelly, actually the leader in lane 2, leaving a lot of room for his teammate Jeff Bernard. And of course, the boats to his right having a great race. It looks like Villwock now is pulled up beside Steve David. Villwock is going to take 3rd place. David will drop back into 4th. It's Kelly by a nose at the end of that lap.
But they are dead even 3 across. Bernard, Kelly, and Villwock as they head down to the Blue Bridge turn. It didn't take much more than about 100 feet past the end of lap 2 for Villwock to catch the others, and Steve David now is just a little bit back. We'll see if they get cleanly through that turn.
There comes Villwock.
Said earlier, Dave Villwock drove around in in Detroit. He drove around everybody from lane number 4.
We saw Steve David in the overhead shot really get caught in a mess between lanes 2 and 3. I believe he got slowed down a little bit by some rough water. Look at Villwock go. The U-96 Spirit of Qatar now on the backstretch is leaving the 2 red boats. J. Michael Kelly a little bit of a lead over Jeff Bernard. That's the race for 2nd and 3rd. Steve David is in the rooster tails. We can't tell you exactly where he is until they turn toward us. Villwock has the lead as they head this way, but he is on the outside. He is the leader, though. He holds the lead coming out of that turn. Here's the checkered flag for Dave Villwock in first place. A close race for 2nd, and it's J. Michael Kelly by about a boat length over Jeff Bernard. Steve David runs 4th in the Oboy Oberto. What a boat race. When you line them up like that, Mark, exciting stuff is expected. Exciting stuff is exactly what happened.
Well, I think that we got our money's worth for that.
Wow, what
that
a boat
heat.
race.
Yeah, they did. That was a very, very exciting heat of racing. Jeff Bernard taking the lead, battling back and forth with his teammate J. Michael Kelly, Steve David, and Dave Villwock on the outside. And finally on that last lap, Dave Villwock just kind of walked away from him on the outside. I think he's shown he can drive around pretty much anybody.
And it's not too early to mention that Dave Villwock scores 400 points for that win. 300, 225, 169 for Steve David. I think that's enough of a difference now to put Villwock temporarily, at least, in the lead for the National High Point Championship. That's one of the very big issues here today. The National High Points, as well, of course, as being the champion of the Lamb Weston Columbia Cup.